Bulldog Unchained presents the one-on-one sessions.
They will go one-on-one with the Great One.
Friday, February 7th, 2020. This is the Bulldog Unchained podcast. I'm your host, the King of Villains, Bulldog Malenko. This is the one-on-one sessions, and I've got my buddy, Jimmy Russelburg, in the studio with me. How you doing, man?
Oh, doing good.
So, you and I just got done doing 30 Minutes of Mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, isn't it a trip?
It's the Glinda show.
It's the gag on it show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck. So, man, you know what? I know that you've been kind of sweating this a little bit, like, oh God, what are we going to talk about? And blah. So, tell me about how you grew up, man. Are you from Evansville?
No, I grew up in Chandler.
Okay.
I was born and raised there.
Well, I mean, right outside.
Well, I mean, this area, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, born and raised, over in Chandler. Lived in Newburgh for a few years. Been back and forth between Chandler, back in Newburgh again. But I haven't left the sweaty armpit yet.
No? Never lived anywhere else?
Fuck no. Want to, but no.
I mean, look, I left for 4 years. I was in Vegas for 3 and in St. Louis for a year. And it was good to get away, but it was also really good to get back home.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of shit tying me to this place anymore, so it's like, it just depends on, what happens.
Is this your youngest that's about to be 18?
No.
No?
No.
How old's your youngest?
Getting ready to turn 17.
Well, okay. So, you've almost got the nest empty.
Yes. Yes.
That heavy sigh of relief.
Yeah. But then I got the...
You know it never ends, right?
No. But, I mean, the only thing I've got
I'll
going
be 41
right now,
next month, and my dad still dreads when he hears the phone ring and sees that it's me calling.
See, that's going to be me, but it's going to be with my oldest daughter because she's wanting to go into medical school. So it's going to be, what kind of shenanigans are going to come from that one? So, yeah.
God. Also, I have to give you a huge thank you.
Oh, shit.
For my 10-inch Deadpool figure here that's sitting on my podcast studio desk now. Like, I'm running out of room here. It's closing in on me.
Yeah, you're going to have to put up some shelves
I'm going to have to get some more shelving.
Definitely.
I really am. It's, I think I might just put a shelf, like, back behind here in front of the backdrop of Deadpool.
Yeah. Or you can stick something, like, over here.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of room to play with.
Yeah, I need to clear some of this out and put another shelf there.
Oh, yeah.
Like a 5-shelf bookshelf, God damn. Got a lot going on here.
But it's good.
It is good. It's awesome. That's why I can't wait to have a real studio and just have stuff spread out and displayed. And
yeah.
It'll be a toy house is what it'll be.
And I could see you if you had like the foam pads that you put on the walls, like actually paint like Deadpool's face.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Or my logo. Yeah.
Just all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Be a good time.
Yeah. Be all kinds of shit all over the place.
Yeah.
Fuck it. So, you and I, our biggest bond and connection is music.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you're also a guitarist.
Yep.
How many guitars do you have now?
11.
I'm sorry. Did you say 11?
11.
You have 11 guitars.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I literally just got another one. Like
your 7-string?
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't say no to that one. Like there was no way I could say no to that deal.
Did you sell a guitar though to get that one?
I was going to. I'm actually going to put it up for sale this weekend. But yeah, I was thinking about taking it to a pawn shop. He's going to put it for
sale for like $200 more than it's worth, so nobody will buy it.
No, it was a cheap one. So I mean, I paid $200 for it. So yeah.
So I'm going to list it for $5.
No, fuck, it ain't worth that much. But
that's what I'm saying, because you don't really want to get rid of it.
But yeah, I've got right now 2 7-strings until I get rid of one of them. I've got an acoustic guitar, a 5-string bass, a 4-string bass, and then a boatload of other ones.
What are your electrics?
See, going back from the original OG one, I've got an old 80s, like early fucking 80s model Epiphone Flying V that I will never get rid of. That was my first guitar. I mean, the story behind that one I loved, but yeah, that I'll never get rid of it. I've got an old, like, S-Series Ibanez, like the old Joe Satriani series stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've got one of those. Fucking love that thing. Let's see, my wife and kids ended up buying me, it was a Epiphone Les Paul Silverburst. That thing is fucking gorgeous. I've got an old...
The neck breaker.
It's really not that bad.
No. Dude, most Les Pauls weigh like 14 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of heavy, but when you go from playing that V that is like a fucking tree trunk...
Right.
I was used to it. So it didn't, it's not that big of a deal. Now, the thing that I don't like about it is it will expose every flaw that you have, like with fucking neon signs.
That's like, honestly, that's why I play my Strat the most.
Because that Gretsch is mean?
No. Strats expose you.
Yeah.
Man, those single coil pickups, anything you fuck up, man. And now, like, whenever I go back to playing the Gretsch, or if I play my Epiphone, I can get kind of sloppy playing with humbuckers.
I can get sloppy with the Schecter 6-string that I have.
Oh, Schecter makes really fucking forgiving guitars.
Yes, they do. That one is.
I had a Schecter S1 Elite that I sold to my buddy Jay Scott. He bought it from me.
See, the one that I've got, the one that I have is it's like a Damien 6.
Yeah,
and that thing is fucking awesome. Like, it sounds
the Omen, the Schecter Omen 6 Damien.
It's got like EMGs built into it already. Yep. Like, it's a fucking solid guitar. And
Schecter are not expensive guitars.
No.
Like, it's kind of like Ibanez.
Yeah.
A lot of Ibanez, like Ibanez and Schecter, I consider like right on point with each other.
You can get some semi-expensive Schecter ones, but
yeah, you can.
But
those are mostly signature series.
Yeah, once you hit like the $1,000 mark, that's like top of the line shit that you're gonna get for them. But yeah, but I've got that Schecter. I just picked up another Schecter 7-string. Got an old Jackson 7-string, and then that Strat that I picked up last year. And then I've got an Ibanez acoustic.
Oh, the blue Strat.
Yeah. Ooh,
I remember how excited you were getting that.
God.
Isn't it a player series?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't super expensive, but oh my God, I was kicking myself in the ass for that one. Because for the longest time, I was just like, I don't like Strats. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like them.
Fucking way.
And then I played it, and I was like, fuck, why didn't I do this years ago?
Yep. I would have been, if I would have had a Strat at 14, 15 years old, I'd be a better player.
You'd be balls deep, even more so in blues than you currently are.
Yeah.
Easily.
Absolutely.
And I've got a bond with that thing, too. It's like, you have a guitar that you just, it does something to you.
I have my dream guitar sitting in there in front of the TV. That Gretsch.
Oh, and who was it that told you it was going to happen?
You did.
Right, motherfucker. Tell me fucking law of attraction don't work.
So I've got that Gretsch, and still the Strat is my go-to.
Yeah,
like it's my main guitar.
Well, it's what pulls out the creativity. I mean, that's the way it is with that Strat that I have. Like, if I sit down and start playing stuff, like, even if I'm not in the mood to play anything, my fingers just start doing shit, and it's like, fuck, that's a melody. I like that. Yeah. It speaks to you.
Yeah, it's like you said, like, why didn't I get into this sooner?
Yeah.
Ed, who was on the show on Tuesday, doing his one-on-one session with me, yeah, he still laughs when I talk about that Strat, man, because he knew that I was just vehemently against Strats. Like, they're just the ugliest guitars I've ever seen, and now they were, and now I'm just like, which I have the benefit though of having the Jimi Hendrix Monterey edition that's all painted up, and it's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, they're real basic, just boring looking guitars.
But man,
yeah, the sound, you just can't replicate that. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just, you could have that body style in another type of guitar, and it's not going to sound like that.
No.
So, yeah. Definitely regretting not doing it years ago.
Those goddamn pickups, man.
And even just the regular factory pickups sound fucking good.
Yep. The only thing that I might ever change out, and see, I don't know if I can do it to the Jimmy. I don't know if I can.
You just have to go get another one.
Yeah, I'll probably have to get another Strat and then slap a hot rail in that on the bridge.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like having the hot rail pickup.
That'd be a good time.
And then leaving the middle and the neck as single coil.
Yeah, because there's like the middle and the neck, like you can't replicate that very easily with anything else.
No.
Like I don't know what it is, man, but it's just those are phenomenal guitars.
So how long you been playing?
Oh God. Let's see. I started, like, if we go back musically, like I started with drums whenever I was like way younger.
Seems like most people started out as drummers.
I have a picture of me.
I played drums before I ever had a guitar.
Oh, me too, hands down. Like
So
my thing. I grew up. I fucking loved the Muppets. Loved them. Animal. That's my
Animal,
shit. Like
yeah.
I still have like the old 1970s like edition Muppet of Animal. Like I fucking love this dude. He is my shit. I'm actually gonna get him tattooed on me. But I had a little drum set from that. I played drums for forever, and it wasn't until my freshman year of high school, with a girl that I was dating. I remember talking to her on the phone, and I heard her listening to something in the background, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And she was like, well, it's my favorite band. Who is it? Pantera. I said, let me borrow that CD.
Yep.
And she was just like, no, it's my favorite. I was like, I'll give it back to you tomorrow. Just let me borrow the thing.
I need to record it
Yeah.
on a cassette tape.
I mean, that was it. Fucking vulgar display of power. I put that shit in the CD player. Started listening to it. Literally the next day, I talked to a buddy of mine. I said, "You still got that V you're selling? I'm gonna buy it." And I switched freshman year of high school. It was on. That was it. That's what did it. I had no desire to ever play guitar until I heard that album. It was like, oh fuck, I'm sold.
Yeah. That kind of makes you feel bad, though, doesn't it? Because then you're like, oh, I can't quite play this thing the way Dimebag Darrell does.
Now see, okay.
Nobody
I
ever
can't.
tells you that.
No. There's no way that I could. But that was like the thing for me is like I kind of picked up with it a little like easier than I guess I probably should have. Like I progressed through things a lot faster than I probably should have, and I got real like arrogant to a point. It was like, oh, I don't fucking need to learn this and this and no, I really should have done that. But yeah, freshman year in high school, 1992. That's when it started.
If I could go back to like young me, and I mean like 5, 6 years old, I wish I could be like, hey, for your birthday or Christmas here, ask for a guitar and guitar lessons.
Oh, if I could go back to 5-year-old me, what I would have done is I would have fucking slipped a copy of Pink Floyd, like, The Wall or some shit, or like played Comfortably Numb for myself and said, that's what you need to do right there. Fuck the drums, do that. Like, that would have done it. Yeah.
Dude, music, like, so Pantera is what influenced you to get a guitar.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably a combination of Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains.
I can
Like
see
I
that.
loved Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
But when I looked at pictures of Jimmy and I saw him playing the Strat, I was
Yeah.
like, what an ugly guitar. I was a teenager, man. I was like, that's gross. So my first guitar I got was a Samick Destroyer.
Oh.
The BC Rich body,
Yes.
the Warlock body.
Yep.
But this thing was like brown and yellow lightning all over it and looked like like it was cracking, and I love that. And that thing was a neck breaker too. That thing had to weigh 22 fucking pounds.
I've had some that were
It
real
was
heavy.
monstrous.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. But man, I got that, and I got that, and you know what I'm talking about, that Boss D1 distortion, or no, the Metal Zone. The Boss Metal Zone pedal. That's what it was.
Oh god, that thing is like collecting dust on my computer table.
And I had, and my first amp was a Randall.
See, I never had a Randall.
Dude,
I had
this guitar screamed. My grandmother regretted that purchase. I'm pretty sure from the moment we got home, and I hooked everything up. And of course, the first song I learned to play was Iron Man.
I think that's most everybody's first
Right,
song.
it's one of the easiest things.
Yep.
And then right after that was No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandmother would just hear me jumping around upstairs. Damn it!
It was before that I actually bought a guitar, before I had any interest of even like trying to learn how to play one. It was an old buddy of mine named Jeremiah. He had an acoustic at his house, and we were, just dicking around, and I was like, let me check that out. I ended up learning how to play. It was like Inner Sandman.
Yep, that was like
Inner
the
Sandman,
third or fourth song I learned.
It was Inner Sandman, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and Iron Man. Like I played all three of those in the first time.
No Nirvana. Now, one of the songs, like I haven't played it probably since I was 16. I should probably try to do it again, and I bet I can play it better now. But I think it's a Piece of Pie by Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh yeah. Dude, Stone Temple Pilots, they were fucking...
That guitar, his guitar tone was so fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like...
There's those Les Pauls he used.
Oh, God.
Such a beefy fucking tone from that. Like, I know when the whole grunge shit hit, back at, like, when we were in high school, junior high or whatever the hell it was, like... It was like you said, Alice in Chains. I was like, oh fuck!
Soundgarden.
The first time that I ever heard Facelift, it was over.
Yep.
I was like, oh my god! It's like fuck the rest of this Nirvana, Pearl Jam. No, dude, Alice in Chains, that's my shit. And then Stone Temple Pilots Core.
Yeah, the first song, like a lot of people's first song they heard was "Man in the Box."
Yeah.
My first song that I heard was "We Die Young."
Oh, that's such a good one.
God damn, dude! I was like, what is that? Like, I was in 6th grade, I think.
Yep.
And I had an older stepsister, and one of her friends played this cassette in her car. Like, I was riding with them somewhere, and she was like, hey, I'm going to play Alice in Chains. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I had listened, I was listening to Metallica and stuff like that. And I loved Iron Maiden and all.
Oh, yeah.
But, dude, that was different. That was way different than anything I had heard. And I was like, this dude's voice and those guitars and harmonies and what is going on here? And then, we listened to the whole damn album, going to where we were going and on the way back. And when it got to Sunshine, that was it, boy. That was it for me. I was like, you got to let me borrow this tape. And you got to realize at this time, I was still living with the womb donor who was a preacher, and so I had to hide. I had to hide and play it real low in my room. Like, I couldn't rock out there.
Oh no!
But I would grab all of my cassettes that I had recorded and friends had made for me and stuff, and I would take them with me to my dad's house, and spending weekends with my grandparents. Man, I had a legit boombox. Like, I had a ghetto blaster.
Oh, I remember
there.
Those.
Oh yeah, those. Dude. Like, I had the full like 11 band EQ on the front, dual cassette decks, and it weighed like 30 fucking pounds.
See, the thing that
I carried that bitch all around the neighborhood too. I did not give a fuck.
The thing that made it lucky for me was like my oldest brother. He was constantly just moving all over the place. And it was back whenever I was in high school. He ended up had this really badass stereo system, like the old fucking component stereo systems that everybody loved. He had one of those, tons of fucking albums and all kinds of stuff, and he left it at my mom's house because he was like, I can't take it with me. So that was my shit. I got to jam on that all the time. So it was lovely.
So at my dad's house, out at the farmhouse, my dad had a old Sansui home stereo system.
I think I remember those.
Dude, this thing, like, all of the front of it is like polished steel, heavy duty. And then it had the record player, had an 8-track, had dual cassette, everything. Dude, I would go through all my dad's stuff, man. He had like Moody Blues albums, Cheech and Chong, fucking Jimi Hendrix, Creedence. So much Creedence, man.
That's like one of my other brothers.
Like Foreigner and Fleetwood Mac. Man, I would put on all this stuff, and just my dad Saturday mornings, he'd be coming downstairs at like 7 o'clock in the morning. You gotta turn it down. Why? It goes this loud for a reason.
Yeah.
You gotta turn it down.
It stops at 10, so that's where I'm gonna stop it.
These go to 11.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like I had one of my brothers, he was the one that, listened to the more broader range of things. So that's where I got introduced to, the Creedence Clearwater Revival. That's where I started listening to like Dr. Hook and shit like that.
Yeah.
All of these bands that like nobody else that I hung out with were
Fucking Foghat.
Yeah.
Foghat.
Like he had all of the stuff like that nobody else that I hung out with
Steve
listened
Miller.
to. Oh yeah. I used to listen to all that shit over there. It was constantly like snaking his fucking AC/DC stuff, and he'd have like all like this Leonard Skinner, this and just like I was over there every fucking weekend with like a new pack of tapes. I'm like, I'm recording the fuck out of this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was it, man. Music was it.
And then at my grandparents' house, if I was downstairs messing, like they had a nice home stereo too, and lots of vinyl, and their vinyl consisted of things like, what the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Oh, I think the furnace, the heater just kicked on. That's what that is. I was like, God damn, that just came out of nowhere. But no, their stuff consisted of like, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Nat King Cole,
The old classical stuff.
Yeah, Perry Como, fucking
gives you an appreciation for vocals at that point.
Mel Torme.
Yeah.
Like I used to listen to all that stuff too, and my grandmother would host bridge club at the house sometimes, and if I was there, I would entertain her and her lady friends, and I would go grab one of my grandpa's fedoras, and I would grab her little floor like brush sweeper. You know what I'm talking about? The little push broom that you like.
The little duster things.
Kind of, yeah. And I would go grab it and come sliding into the living room and be like, how lucky can one guy be?
That's awesome.
I kissed her as she kissed me. I love that shit. I'm still, to this day, I'm a huge Rat Pack fan.
Oh, dude, they were...
Especially...
I'm not going to say they were ahead of their time, but they were just... They stood out.
Especially Dean Martin. Dean Martin's voice is...
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Like, that dude... When anybody uses the word crooner, a lot of people think Frank Sinatra immediately, and I'm like, Dean Martin.
Mm-mm.
Dean Martin could have sung me out of my panties.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a joke. Like, holy shit, that dude's voice was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, and he was, in the grand scheme of things, I think he was underrated.
And they had a lot of big band albums.
Oh, yeah.
That was just music, because my grandpa used to win dance competitions when he was younger. Like he could dance the full Charleston and everything.
That's badass.
Yeah. And like a lot of swing and big band stuff, and from like the 30s and like the 20s, 30s and 40s. And
yeah, see, I never got any music stuff from like my parents at all. Like my dad, he was all into country, and like it wasn't even like he listened to the whiny crybaby shit, and I just
like original Hank.
Yeah, and I rebelled against that so bad. Like anything my dad did, it was like, "Fuck you! I got to do the opposite."
See, I love outlaw country, like Waylon.
And that's the thing. I don't count that stuff. To
right,
me,
it's different.
Man, if somebody's like, well, Willie Nelson's country, fuck you. No, it's not. Johnny Cash's country.
Yeah, that's outlaw. That's outlaw. It's totally different shit.
There are some people that I can't lump them in with country. Can't do it. But yeah, it was growing up for me. It was like with the brothers that I had. It was Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, Kiss. I stood no chance from the beginning. It was like I was going to be a metalhead. Like that was it. And it wasn't until later on that I started listening, branching out and listening to other stuff. Like I was listening to all the rap shit. Like we mentioned in the other one, like Big Daddy, Cool Mo D, Big Daddy Kane, fucking all that stuff. I loved it. Like you remember when the Victory Theater was here?
I was never. Wait, how old are you?
42.
So you're just a year older than me. Well, I'll be 41 next month. See, I didn't start coming to hang out in Evansville till I was like 18.
So it was already done.
That was over.
Back whenever I was like 12, 13 years old or something, that was the best place to go for us. Like they had like what they called their all-nighters on weekends. So you'd go there on a Friday.
Like a lock-in.
Yeah, it would be. Like you'd fucking hang in on a Friday, sometimes Saturday, whatever it was, and you were there all fucking night long. And they had, I think there was a movie theater upstairs. So they would play like weird-ass old movies. Yeah. There was, you go into the main section, they had a big-ass dance floor sitting there with everything. And then downstairs they had the dungeon where they had all the metal stuff. And it was funny, man, because I was like the long-haired kid growing up, and everybody, they knew me as being like a hardcore. Like, I listened to fucking Metallica, Slayer. Like, I was like metalhead. But whenever we'd go to the all-nighters, my ass was fucking wearing MC Hammer pants out there, out dancing the black dudes in the fucking club. I'd dance my ass off into like exhaustion, and everybody's like, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Okay,
fun."
I was like, "How many women did you fucking get numbers for this weekend?" Doing, yeah, I met a whole bunch of people. Like, you're going home with a sore neck. I'm going home like in shape and a little tired. You know, that was it, man. I got into that stuff. It was so much fun for me. But yeah, it was. I couldn't just pigeonhole myself into one thing. I had to branch out. Been like that since I was little. But that's it.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. I miss something. Like I kind of wish I could afford to get a really nice home stereo, but I also know like I'm gonna have to. Hopefully, eventually, one day, I'm in my own house. Not renting. Staying with a friend, renting the basement. But if I've got my own house, not an apartment, because that shit don't work either. You can never crank it up like it needs to be.
No,
yeah, I need to be in a house that's on like several acres.
Yeah, so you don't have neighbors getting pissed off at you. Yeah,
right.
Oh yeah. That's like me. As soon as after I got split up with my my first wife, whenever she and I split up and I ended up getting I moved into my first little apartment by myself. Fucking, I remember sitting there jamming out in the middle of the night. My downstairs neighbor came up one night. It was like fucking 4:00 in the morning. He's like, dude, he goes, I love Rage Against the Machine. He goes, but you have got to stop playing that shit, because that's all I did. I'd jam on my fucking guitar, just playing this stuff, music nonstop. Now at the time, I had one of the big component stereo systems. And I had like the surround sound shit, and I had the two 12-inch speakers that it came with. Nah, that wasn't enough. I went and got two 15s to go along with this shit. So it was like a fucking wall of sound. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Not good for small places.
No. And close neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't know if my neighbors like Clutch, but they're rocking out to him right now.
Yeah, if they don't, they're going to.
Yeah, you're going to love this.
Jesus. Yeah.
I'm betting after about a week, you're going to be able to sing these songs.
Yeah. I mean, even where I'm at right now, like, I don't crank my amps up or music up super, super loud, just in case, because I got a neighbor they're pricks. I don't like them. But I'm pretty sure they would complain. You need to turn that stuff down. Like, you need to bite my ass. Neil's over here, having a sermon. You shut up and listen.
Yeah, right. It's time for church, fucker. Oh my God. So, when you were in high school, what was the majority of the bands that you remember listening to the most? Like,
see, in high school, I was like really big into Metallica. Like junior high, I had what I called like my Metallica wall. One wall of my room from corner to corner was fucking nothing but posters, pictures. Like, I'd go buy magazines and
Hit Parader, all that shit. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Dude, I'd go to the fall festival just to get the posters.
Play the dart game?
Yes. And that was my thing, man. It was Metallica. And then I remember it was when the Black Album came out. I'd listened to that. I was like, oh, that's fucking badass. And then I remember going to school and seeing the preppy kids singing it. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
It's like, it's over. It's like, they're done.
Yep.
It's toast. From that point, I kind of I got real deep into death metal stuff at that point. I turned. It was like Deicide, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse.
That's when I found White Zombie, Sepultura.
See, White Zombie for me, I remember I got them. It was from Beavis and Butthead, because I used to watch that shit all the time growing up. And I remember I heard White Zombie, and I fucking was like, dude, this is badass. Bought the album, started wearing their t-shirts, and I remember other kids were like, oh, they fucking suck. And then like a year later, they're like jamming out to it, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You were shit talking me like 8 months ago, and now whatever. But yeah, it was death metal shit for a long time. Long time.
High school, I loved Sepultura.
Oh, I did too. Chaos AD, baby.
Yes, dude. Yes. And the remixes that were done of their songs.
Oh, yeah.
Like adding in like the marching bands and shit, like the drum lines.
Yeah.
Because they turned it into Chaos BC.
Yep.
Holy shit, dude. I don't care who you are. If you hear that song, you can be the most mild-mannered person on the planet, and you hear,
Yeah.
it's going to make you want to fucking kill people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, homicidal rage just flows through your veins.
Yeah, it was like when I originally first started getting into them, it was like a rise in fucking dead embryonic cells, like, you know, back in their older shit. But it was right before that hit, and I remember, like, I didn't listen to them for a little bit, and then that album came out, and I remember it was like, I think it was Territory was the first single they released, and I was like, oh fuck, this is badass, because it was just, it wasn't the thrash metal stuff, it was like different, and to me, I was just like, I need to branch out besides death metal a little bit.
Well, you know, I was already into, like, gangster rap. I was into gangster rap before MTV was ever showing that shit. Ever. There was no Yo MTV raps. No, like,
Even if it was, you weren't hearing no NWA
nope,
on that bitch.
Nope.
You had Five Freddy and all them.
Right. But then also, my sophomore year, well, my freshman year, I really started getting into punk music, too. Because I was kind of, you know, a skater kid, and started hanging out with more of the skaters, and they were always listening to punk and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, some of this shit's pretty cool, man. Like,
the thing that got me into punk, oddly, in a really weird twist, was Gwar.
that was my first concert.
Yeah, because I remember, like, it was junior high school. It was when Scumdogs of the Universe was out. There was a kid that I
loved it.
I talked music with this kid on the bus, and he was jamming it on a headset, and I listened to it. I was like, that's fucking cool. Started listening to them, and they had like a real punkish vibe, and then it was just like, well, what else is there? You know, and then all of a sudden it's, you know, you're knee deep in the Misfits and Dead Kennedys.
Okay, so that's what did it for me. So as a kid, you know, one of my cousins turned me on to the Misfits and Motorhead. And I was like, okay, these guys are awesome.
Fuck yeah, they were.
And especially Motorhead.
Yeah.
Fuck, I still, you've seen my shit. I love Motorhead. I need to get a tattoo of Snaggletooth. Fuck
That'd be hilarious.
I need to fucking do that. I need to get the War Pig tattooed on me. I love Motorhead enough, and that love's never going to die, so...
See, I like Motorhead. I still listen to him from time to time, but anytime I listen to Ace of Spades, my fucking right foot starts twitching. That song
annoys the fuck out of me.
It wasn't even that. It was the fact that it was, I was like 18, 19 years old, some shit like that. I had gotten like my first like professional tattoo. 4.5 hours in this fucking seat, rotating like a rotisserie chicken, and the motherfucker played Motorhead live the whole time. So now it's ingrained. When my fucking ankle starts twitching when that happens, because I'm just like, I can feel the needle again. Yeah. Fuck you, Lemmy.
But, so the punk led to me finding something else that I love. And a lot of people be like, what's your guilty pleasure? Well, this is one of them. Which, you know, also, I love 80s, like, pop and new wave music.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I love that. Like, that was the other thing. Being a kid in the 80s and early 90s, you know, you were either supposed to be a metalhead or the new wave type kid. Or I was both. I loved all that shit, man.
I couldn't choose.
I could be listening to Slayer and then put on fucking Tears for Fears and be just fine. Like, and Duran Duran.
To jump off of that point, you know, it was after me, you know, me and the ex split up. Pardon me.
You're good.
Yeah. Whenever I had my little 5-disc CD changer thing, the CDs that I had in there was it was a Slayer album. I had a Black Sabbath live album. There was Seven Dust Home. I had fucking Morbid Angel in there, and then Tori Amos.
Yeah.
That was my shit. Like, and I just have that fucker on repeat.
Well, my sophomore year, I discovered ska. And I love ska music. I do. I love Less Than Jake. Real Big Fish is my favorite ska band.
I was waiting for you to say it.
I fucking love Real Big Fish. I got to see them for my birthday back in 2014 in Louisville. On
and see, the ska scene never really blowed up out of here.
No, it never blew up here. That was all fucking West Coast.
Yeah, it got here a little bit, but it was there was a club.
Sankofa House.
No.
I think La Cappuccinos.
It wasn't the Cap either. It was like a fucking church or some shit. And
Yeah, that wasn't that the Sankofa house? Yeah, it was.
It may be the name of it. I don't remember. But it was like in the basement of a church. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was the only place that it was like punk was big here at that point, and the ska stuff started kicking in right around then, and then that place shut down.
Yep.
So yeah, it never went anywhere.
Yeah, it was there for, like they got 2 years maybe.
Yeah, I saw a couple punk shows out there. And it was a good time.
Yeah.
How I didn't end up in jail.
And then, well, we had 1123 that had a lot of punk bands and metal bands.
I never. Maybe I did go to 1123.
It was on First Avenue.
Yeah, I did go there.
Little bitty shotgun.
Yep.
Looked like a house, and it was a bar.
Oh fuck! My favorite place for the longest time was like what was it? The River City, like the brewery area, like right there on Fulton or whatever. There was a place that was out there that they had bands that would play at, to where they had like a big fucking room where they had live music, and then off to the other side there was like pool tables and shit in there.
Oh, I guess
you may not have been here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a big fucking hangout for a long time, and a lot of people used to play out there. It was a really good place. Like, it actually probably could have pulled in some big name bands in that place. It was like a cool underground type scene. It had potential, but no, it just fucked off.
Well, that's, for whatever reason where we live here in Evansville, like, when I was the lead singer for Paradigm, we started, like, there was a nice original music scene that was building. And then now
it just died.
I can think of like 2 original bands, and there's like one place they can play in town, and that's it. And it's just done. Like, for whatever reason, like, look, I don't knock cover bands. I get it. It's fun. Like, there are cover bands I love to go see, but cover bands aren't the end all be all, people. No. Why do you think you love these songs that you love? Do you think that those bands were cover bands playing in a bar like that? And
the perfect thing is, you got to think about this area. Evansville is nothing but strip clubs, bars, and churches. So what is this? Just like your boy Ed said, it's the background music to your hookup. Exactly.
The sonic,
yes.
The sonic wallpaper of your hookup. God damn it. Was that not one of the best turns of a phrase that you've ever heard?
I laughed at that, and I was like, "You're a fucking genius."
We were the sonic wallpaper for your hookup.
But that's what it is.
Fuck, man, that's so great.
And like I always call this place like the sweaty armpit of the country. Like this area is dead. There's not much that's going to revive it.
So backward,
but it has so much potential, and that's what pisses me off.
The problem is you got to speed up the deaths of like a third of the population.
That is part of it, and I think the other thing that would really help this area is if they would just stop trying to fucking revitalize downtown. Leave it the fuck alone.
Downtown's done. Franklin Street's where it's at.
Well, but that's
Franklin Street is...
But still, branch out around it. I mean, you have like all that area, like where Fulton was. There was that fucking place out there. Perfect place for live music. That would have been great. You have all these pretty much empty buildings that could be used for all kinds of shit. But what do they want to do? They want to cram as much crap as they can downtown. It's be like, well, we got to revitalize the downtown. No, you don't.
Downtown's revitalized. Leave it alone.
You look at it.
Go elsewhere. Look, I don't understand. Like, okay, Burkhart is filling up.
It's the fucking new Green River Road.
Yeah, Burkhart is filling up now. Next one down, you got Epworth.
Which there's not much. That's going to turn into a fucking medical
10 to 15,
facility.
Yeah, 10 to 15 years, that's going to be there.
Oh, I can see it.
So what they need to do is that, that little spot north of Morgan, between Green River Road and Burkhart, where all those warehouses and everything are.
Oh, back where like old Stevenson Station was.
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff back.
They used to have band stuff out there.
Somebody needs to grab one of those warehouses and turn that motherfucker into a bar like Pops in St. Louis.
Yeah.
If somebody sunk the money here in Evansville to create a true mid-sized venue, and literally all you got to do is follow the layout that Pops has already given you, or a place like Bogart's in Cincinnati.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Follow either. Do a mashup of the two. Combine Bogart's with Pops.
Yep.
Make it a fun atmosphere. Put some pool tables over off to the side. Your band area, the concert area, doesn't even have to be open on nights when you don't have bands.
No.
You still got a full bar with a patio and everything like that. And then when you open up for shows,
well, even if you did have,
you can hold 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Well, still, even if you did have that and you wanted to have the access to it, turn it into a fucking dance club.
Yeah, no shit.
Throughout the week.
No
Just
shit.
Put a DJ up there.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
You know, you got money.
But everything that I've heard from club owners around here, and this boggles my mind because I'm like, you don't know people that go to concerts there.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, you know, those concerts, I don't think that they would draw around like just 3,000 people. And I'm like, do you understand that concert goers travel?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let me just tell you, if Clutch hit a stretch of Indianapolis, St. Louis, Louisville, Nashville, and Evansville, I'm going to all 5 fucking shows. If I gotta quit my job,
I was gonna say, I got vacation time and I'd be fucking driving.
Right. Like, I'm going to those goddamn shows because they're all going to be right around each other. Like, they're going to be within a week of each other, week and a half.
And that's like the show that, you know, me and my wife went to go see.
But when I go to these shows in Louisville, in St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Nashville, I see a lot of the same people at all
Always.
these different shows, man.
Yeah.
Like, we run into each other. Hey, man, I remember you. What's going
yeah.
on, brother? And I'm like, Evansville is at the center of all of that. All of those places. We are right smack in the fucking middle. And we're right off the interstate.
But it's also the fact that you got to consider, you know, you look at this area and you have like some of the bigger bands that'll come play here and they can't fucking sell out a stadium.
Well, that's the problem because everybody just thinks Ford Center. Ford Center. Fuck, dude, the Ford Center holds like 10,000 people.
And from what I've heard, it's terrible to see a show in. I've never been there to see a concert.
I haven't been there for a concert.
I went to go see wrestling in there one time, and it was like, I hated it.
Really?
Well, because we were like sixth row in the middle. Couldn't see a fucking thing. The whole time.
Well, that's just position. If you're not in the first 3 rows
if
on
I
the
was,
floor,
if I was up around like
up off the
in
floor,
seats,
if you're on the ring,
if I was on the seats,
fucking amazing.
That'd be fine. But floor seats,
like
there,
watching
no.
hockey and stuff, there's not a bad seat in the fucking house.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
really
it looked
isn't.
like it was a really good layout.
It
but
is.
For what I went to see, nah, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, that's any wrestling show, anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. If you're on the floor and you're not in the first 3 rows,
You ain't seeing shit.
no, dude, it sucks because you got people putting signs up, people standing up in front of you. Yeah, it's and then the rope, like the angle of the ropes and the height of the ring kind of throws perspective off, and you're like, fuck.
Yep.
But being right up off the floor for those,
It'd be really fun.
oh, dude, it's great. Like you're
It's like I miss Robert Stadium for stuff like that.
Oh man,
Robert Stadium was awesome,
yeah,
and it had amazing acoustics too.
Yeah, it did.
Fucking sounded good.
yes. I saw lots of concerts
Oh
there.
god, so did I. So many shows.
But no, like I hear these club owners around here, and they're like, "Well, I don't think," and this is their small thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This is their small thought. Well, I just don't think that those bands will sell out for an Evansville crowd, and I'm like, that's your problem. You're only thinking an Evansville crowd.
Mm-hmm.
What you're not factoring in are the people that are going to drive here from Indianapolis, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Louisville,
Even
Nashville,
Henderson, Owensboro,
yeah, exactly.
even over in Illinois. I
Yes.
mean, yeah.
Yes.
There's a big
Fuck,
area.
fucking Carbondale and Marion.
But that's the thing is, if they would think about it from the reverse perspective, it's like us. We sit.
We
here,
drive everywhere.
Yeah, we sit here, and it's like, well, we get shit for concerts.
Yeah,
but
why do you think I don't go to concerts here? I have to drive 2.5, 3 hours away to go get anything good.
You're 5 hours away from from Chicago,
Right.
Going up there, so you have at most a 5-hour trip to hit anything around here.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it baffles me. I don't
that
understand
small,
it.
that like for as big as Evansville is becoming as a city, it's still such a small town mentality,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what's holding it back. Like
Yeah.
you said, just focus on downtown. Look,
No.
downtown's done. It's already taken care of.
And
Let
they-
it take care of itself.
Yeah, and-
Let's move on.
Yeah, they tore down some shit. They built some shit. They didn't work out the way that they wanted to, so they built some bigger shit. People don't want to go there because there's no parking. And then they get this wild idea. Let's put a medical school down there too.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, people. Yeah, they need to branch out. If you look back throughout history and you go back, we figure back whenever we were born 40 years ago, where was the cool hangout? It was St. Joe, way out there. Now you go to St. Joe now, there's nothing.
Dang,
It's
shit,
dead. It just keeps progressing, like closer towards
Going to
Newburgh.
the east. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, 10 years from now, Epworth's going to be in the New Green River Road.
Yeah.
and they're going to screw it up too. And by the time they're done,
I don't know. Like
Green River Road's-
Burkhart's pretty good.
well, by the time they get to Epworth, Green River Road's going to be a ghost town.
Well, I mean, all you got to do is look at south of Washington
That's
Avenue.
bad.
Dude, Washington Square Mall.
That used to be cool.
yeah,
That
man.
was my first job. Was
They had
working
the
at
best
Noble
arcade.
Romans.
They had the best arcade.
Oh yeah,
What was it? Tilt?
yeah,
Something like that?
dude.
Yeah.
Back when I was in high school, like my first job was working at Noble Romans. I used to go over there all the time, and I would bring the people because I was friends with
That's
the
where
guy.
KB Toys was, too.
Yeah.
Like,
The guy that was the manager there was him, and there was this other girl that I used to flirt with all the time, like unmercifully. God, she was hot. But I used to go in there all the time, and I'd fucking hand them pizza and breadsticks and a drink, and they'd hand me the keys to the machines. So for my break, I'm in there just like, ting, Mortal Kombat. Just that was it. You know, like it was awesome there.
yeah, they had great stores. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
now they've got a call center and they've got the medical center.
The medical facility,
And-
the pizza place is still, like, I think Noble Romans is still there.
Fuck, I don't know. I haven't been in there forever. All I know of is the call center.
Well, and there's Casey's Timeout Lounge.
Yeah,
That's it.
and that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Is, and timeout is it.
Yep.
Like that. That's the only thing that's drawing people.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
And that's
And
sad.
they have their own entrance, so you ain't even
Yeah.
gonna fuck with that dead ass fucking building.
Yeah, it's
And
really
what's
sad.
really sad is that was the first indoor mall in Indiana.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Terrible.
And remember back in the what was it, the 90s when they did that big renovation to put the vaulted ceilings in the food court and
Yeah.
all that. And
The-
now there's like tons of birds that live in the food court and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? What? Who takes care of this place? This place is done.
Yeah,
and then
it's bad.
like Sears shut down and left, and now Raven Tire owns the old Sears Service Center building,
Jesus.
and they're in there. Like that place is just done. Like there's not even a department store there anymore. Like it's, and then
It was, what was it, an Elder Beerman that used to be in like the bigger, like the far right hand
The far-
side?
yeah.
Yeah, it was like their upscale shop.
yeah, yeah, they had Sears on one end.
Yep.
and
Elder
they had
Beerman on the
Elder
other.
Beerman on the other.
Yep.
Yep. And then I remember when at Eastland Mall when wasn't where Macy's is, wasn't that J.C. Penney?
No, I think Penny's has always been where it was.
What was the
It was
name?
Lazarus.
That's yes. That's what it was, Lazarus.
Yeah, and then they built on where,
How ironic that died.
Yes.
And went away.
and it came back as Macy's.
yeah.
So Lazarus died, came back with a sex change.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah. And then what was it? The store, I can't remember what it is now, but it's the one that's in the back of the mall. Like, they built that one onto it.
Yeah, it was De Young's.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Remember?
Yeah.
Fucking shit. I almost forgot. And then I remembered the De Young's gift boxes. If
Fuck,
you-
I still remember. But I remember going in there whenever like the entrance to the mall wasn't a fucking TGI Fridays and they had like the glass ceilings and like the
Yeah.
L shape. You had all the food court stuff. They had the badass arcade that was in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, but nope, they had to fuck that up too.
And now the entrance to the mall is so weird because you got Fridays there. Yankee Candle Shop's right in the middle of the
Yeah.
goddamn entrance of the mall. It's like, I remember when Disc Jockey was right here to the left.
Oh, you remember back in the day when there was 2 record stores in there?
Fuck yeah.
Yep, they had
Oh.
it was Disc Jockey and what was the other one?
Was it Cats? No, Cats
No.
was across.
Maybe it was Coconuts. Because Coconuts was in the mall, and I think they moved from the mall across the street.
across the street. Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember that, because, like, fuck, they used to get big bands and stuff whenever they would come through Evansville. They'd take them down to Disc Jockey, they'd go there and have signing
Do
sessions.
signings, yep.
Yeah. Because, like, I ended up going
And-
and seeing Cinderella and Firehouse and all those
Disc
people
Jockey,
out there.
Disc Jockey was the Ticketmaster
Yep.
outlet.
Yep.
Like you couldn't even go to Roberts Stadium during the day and buy tickets.
Yeah,
for
well,
stuff. It
because
was
there
like-
wasn't an online thing. We didn't have computers back then.
You had to be at Disc Jockey at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
on a Friday or Saturday. Saturday, you had to be there at 9 a.m. and they would usually open at 10. But if
There's
you
a
were
fucking
like,
line.
if you were a frequent person, like if they knew you though,
Yeah.
because tickets went on sale 9 our time, like
Yep.
it's 10 Eastern, and so I think the old manager's name was Brent. Anyway, he would open the doors if there weren't like a mass ton of us.
Just let people
and,
sneak in.
and let us start buying tickets at 9 o'clock. Yeah, dude, it was.
Let's
it was
see.
cool.
I remember buying my Ozfest tickets for the first time at that place.
Dude, I got
I thought it was cool.
I bought fucking WCW Nitro tickets.
Oh, shit.
Like
Yeah.
that when we went to Louisville, that's where I went to get them,
Yep.
man. Because, that was before buying tickets online. Now you just get on your phone and purchase tickets for whatever.
And then hope to God your shit doesn't lag out so you don't miss them.
Dude, that was the original bitch. Like,
Fuck.
you're sitting there clicking refresh, clicking
Yeah.
refresh, clicking refresh. And then you're like, okay, got my tickets ready. Purchase. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening?
That's like when Tool shit, like whenever we do get, like when we go to get Tool tickets for that stuff, me and my wife are both on two different things. Like usually she has her phone in one hand, a laptop in the other. We get like a fucking armory of electronics just trying to get them because they sell out super quick.
The problem now is you've got the bots.
They changed actually with the last Tool tour. They changed that up to where you have to input a cell phone number to get a ticket, and you can only have a 4-ticket maximum, and you can't use the same fucking number for that again. And they stick you in a queue for that shit. Like
That's good.
And they also made it to where you don't get your tickets.
Well, and people started adding the CAPTCHA.
Yeah.
The CAPTCHA stuff, too,
Yep.
to show you're not a robot.
So they got that. Then they have it set up to where you don't even get your tickets until like a week before the show even starts. So you have no access to them. Like they won't even fucking release
so
them
you
onto
can't
your phone.
sell them
Exactly.
at a premium price. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, too, a lot of these ticket places, like StubHub and stuff, they subcontract out like these Vietnamese and Korean people.
That
and
sit there in a call
they
center
just-
shit.
Yeah, they just
Yep.
sit there and grab these tickets. And then they sell them for like 3 to 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking fake. And I'm like, how are the ticket companies and whatever the acts or entertainment are, how are they not going after these aftermarket?
I think they've started to do some of that stuff, but
Like,
it's just
they need
been
to-
recently that it's even happened.
Yeah, they need to start clean and sweep on these people. Like,
Yeah. That's why I like, whenever we went to go see Clutch, it was at it was a fucking bar restaurant.
Yeah, it was a little Irish pub,
Yeah.
man. They sold their tickets. You could only get them on their website.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to Ticketmaster. You
Yeah.
couldn't go to any big outlet. You had to buy it. Yeah,
Yeah, because
I was gonna go.
Yeah, you and I were having that conversation about it. It was like, you get Ticketmaster? No, man. It's like every link fucking takes you right back to O'Connor's.
Yep.
Like, that's it. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a really good show, though, too. Like, I was pleasantly surprised.
Dude,
Like-
Clutch never puts on a bad show.
See, the thing, and like, going to, like, changing up stuff, and I'll use this as an example, like Tool. They've played roughly the same damn set for the past couple years. Like, it's the same damn thing. You may occasionally get an extra song tossed in there or whatever else. But like Clutch, they change up their shit every night.
Well, every night a different member of the band creates the set list.
See that? I didn't know. But
Yeah.
they do, like, they play like the same.
There's like 4 or 5 songs that are
Right.
okay. These are in here, but you get to pick the rest.
Yeah,
of
and
the
it's
set.
like the end of the
and
set.
they swap out the encore songs and
But they started. I know whenever they made, like, they redid that Fortunate Son,
yeah.
they started playing that live too. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, it was after we saw them, but yeah, it was cool because that was the thing I kept telling my wife. Was like, man, I hope to God they play like certain songs. She was like, well, how can you look and see what the set list is? I was like, it's not gonna do you any good. It's like what they played last night. They ain't playing it tonight.
Nope. I was really happy though that when Kirk and I went to Indy last year to see him on my birthday, that they played Ghoul Wrangler.
I got to see
night.
that one too.
God damn, I was so excited.
I had a small handful of songs that I was begging for, and I got like most of them.
And they did DC Sound Attack.
I heard that one too.
Yeah.
We got that. I mean, of course, they played the Electric Warrior. They always play that shit.
That's usually
That's
one
like
of the
one of their
encore
enders,
songs. Yeah, that's one of the encores.
And that was the thing, is like I was begging for Firebirds. Like I was like, God, do it. And
Honestly-
they didn't play it, and they left the stage, and I was like, motherfucker. Like, I was mad. And then they came back out. I was like,
Well, because that was your
okay.
first Clutch
Yeah,
concert, right?
so I didn't know.
You didn't know about the encore.
And then they
thing, 'cause
come
you'll
back-
see
yeah.
people start to leave, but the majority of the crowd's just like
yeah, they stuck.
froze. Yeah, they don't. They
I didn't leave because I'm like, they didn't turn on the lights.
Yep,
so it's not over.
exactly.
It was an outdoor show, but I'm like, the headlights aren't on. I don't see anybody moving any equipment. I'm gonna hang out. And they came out and they played. Fuck, I don't remember what it was. They played one of their songs, then they busted into Firebirds, and I was like, yes. I was like, I got my shit. I loved it.
dude, they need. I wish that they would do this, like just at one show that I'm at. I wish they would play
The trilogy?
X-Ray Vision,
Yep.
Firebirds, and Walks Barbarella.
Yep.
In that order, give me the trilogy. Fuck, dude. I don't
Yeah.
care what other songs you play for the rest of the night. I do not
Yep.
care.
Yeah, you have to.
It would make me so fucking happy.
It would be the, yeah, I could see it. But I think I ended up getting, I think it was 2 songs out of that we got to see. Because they played Firebirds, and then they played In Walks Barbarella, but they didn't do X-Ray Vision. But yeah, it was definitely like a phenomenal concert. I absolutely loved it.
So, what's the best concert you've ever seen? Like, what's the one, whenever I say concert, what's the one that just sticks out?
I have 3, and there's reasons for them. I say ultimately, like, God, the best concert that I've seen has to be Nine Inch Nails when they played here for the the Downward Spiral album.
Yeah.
Just the whole vibe of that, it was so different than anything I'd ever seen before. Like, they had, the backdrops playing. They hid behind the screens. There was the animation shit going on. It was just the music. Everything was so fucking badass that it was just, it was like a life-altering experience. It was like, that is the shit. This is the last Tool album, or Tool tour that we went to go see. They redid some stuff on, like, during that show. The light show was, like, fucking beyond amazing. We're talking like how Pink Floyd used to fuck people up with their light shows.
Right.
It was that kind of stuff. And with the new album, they played like out of the 7 songs that they have on there, we actually got 5 of the new ones, which hasn't happened since then. So it was that. But then the other one that really sticks out to me was when Marilyn Manson came here for the Antichrist Superstar Tour.
Yeah, buddy.
Me and my boy Andrew are the reason why he showed up here. Like, a lot of people don't really realize that.
Oh, hold on.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
So, I got to tell you this. Me and my buddy Tony and Joe, we spent 3 weeks amassing 22,000 signatures.
To get them in here?
We went to Sunshine Promotions because they needed 20,000 signatures. We got 22,000. Took it to them, and they said, well, we're still hesitant to do the promotion and blah. And I was like, what? We got the money together to make a bullshit promotion company that we called Rottweiler Promotions.
Nice.
After my dog Cammy. We
saw them.
But they also told us, Sunshine Promotions told us, when we brought them this stack of papers with signatures and phone numbers, that other people had turned in stacks of papers with signatures and phone numbers.
The thing that did it for us was the fact that, like,
But we had to pay for that shit.
like me and Andrew, like, he was my best friend, like, throughout high school and stuff. Like, it was me, him, my ex-wife, and some people. We hit up a bunch of shows during the Antichrist tour. Saw him down in Louisville.
We went to Indy.
Well, that was the thing.
And that's where we racked up.
Well, that was the cool part, was the fact that we went to the Indy, the Pepsi Coliseum, when they played with L7 that day.
Yeah.
The fucked up thing is, we got backstage passes. We were in there in the backstage area. We were talking to Zimzum, the guitar player, and told him, like, you need to come to Evansville. And he was like, well, that's not on our stop. And we was like, well, you fucking need to make it that way. And he was like, well, why is that? We looked and was like, okay, there's 15 people in the backstage section. It was like 11 of us are from fucking Evansville. It was like we were all from the same damn place. It was like, there's a reason why you need to go down there. And I remember being on vacation in Florida at the time, and Andrew calls me up, and he's freaking out. He's like, dude, they're fucking coming. They're coming. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, it happened. They're on their way. And we got the tickets for the shit, and they changed up their entire show for Evansville. And they openly admitted that. It was like, because of, like, the demand, they changed up everything.
Yes, they came back.
Oh, that was
like they circled back
good.
to us, and
we almost got him in our house partying with us.
we went to the Marriott with them.
Yep.
Ramada.
Yeah.
We went to the Ramada with them. We had to do interviews, and we had to do an interview with one of the preachers from a church here.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember the protest because I was sitting up.
Oh yeah, dude.
just
We were out
laughing.
there. We were out there like.
It was a good time.
Like, you got to realize, 18.
Yep.
When we got that to
we're
happen.
about the same age.
It was 97.
Yep.
Yep. I was 18, and I walked up to the guys that were protesting outside, the one holding the cross, that big giant cross.
Yep.
And I said, "What are you hoping to accomplish?" And he was like, "This is nothing but vile, anti-Christian." But I was like, "Dude, you're yelling at a bunch of kids and 20-something-year-olds that are here to have fun and come see a concert, dude. Like, who do you think you're converting here?
It's not even just
the
that.
only people on your side are the people you brought with you." And I was like, if you look around, some of these people are getting really agitated by the things you're saying and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you look around you, you only got 2 or 3 Evansville police standing around here, and I'm willing to bet that if this fires off, they're not going to save you.
No.
I was like, man, you need to chalk this up as a loss and get back in your van, put all your stuff away, and leave.
Well, and if they paid attention to things, I mean, the protest, the only thing that does is it brings the attention of other people who don't normally know about it. Be like, well, let's go check this out and see what's going on.
Like in the NWA Straight Outta Compton in the movie, when he goes, man, I can't believe they're burning our records like that. Because
they already got them.
He goes, they can do whatever the hell they want with them. And they all look at him and goes, they paid for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. And all you're doing is giving publicity.
Yep.
Manson is one of the most brilliant marketing genius. And he never shied away from the confrontation, he loved the protesters.
Yeah. Well, and it's because of the fact that he had the intelligence to be able to back up what he said.
When he was on Phil Donahue.
Fucked Phil Donahue up. It wasn't even funny. I remember watching that thing and I just died laughing. I think, oh God, was it a Dr. Phil thing he did? I know he talked to somebody else. And the guy...
No, it was, wasn't it, who was it, Bill O'Reilly or...
Oh, yeah, it was O'Reilly. Yeah.
Dude.
And O'Reilly was
was
he's the fucking devil and blah, blah, blah.
O'Reilly got shell-shocked from that interview.
Yeah.
And Manson never raised his voice, and Bill O'Reilly did not know what the fuck to do.
No, had no clue.
He was like, shit, this is not the dumbass metalhead that I thought he was going to be.
No, you're talking about, it was a college-educated person who was very intelligent.
Supremely intelligent.
Very well-spoken. And if you notice, that was the other thing that really blew me up. I remember it was a Guitar World magazine that I bought back when, I was like hardcore Manson fan. It was back when I think he was doing an Ozfest or something with Ozzy, and they had this big thing where there was an interview with the two of them sitting there talking. And I remember counting it, man. Ozzy dropped fuck 100 times in the interview. Manson never said a single curse word.
Right.
Not damn, not hell, nothing.
It just wasn't.
And I was just like,
wasn't his thing.
To me, I just started laughing because I was just like, okay, this makes a lot more sense because it kind of plays into his, his little persona is the fact that, what you see outside of the show is a whole different person than that dude that's on that stage.
Absolutely.
It's like,
have you met him? You've met him, right?
No.
Oh my God.
That was the thing. He never showed up he never showed up to talk to us.
Dude, so I've met Manson 3 times, I think. And just having conversation with him, even if you've got an above average intelligence, I consider myself to have above average intelligence, and I can talk to a lot of people about a lot of things, and most people are just like, what the how do you even know this? I'm like, I read a lot. This dude, even if I tried to bring up something that I think I'm gonna catch him off guard with, he's like, oh, well, did you read this about that? And I'm like, fuck. Okay, man, fuck it. Yeah. Never mind.
And see, that was one of the things that I actually respected a lot about him was the fact that, he wasn't the character that you saw. It was and it was a thing to where
that's just it. It was performance art.
Yeah, and he was, he even said, he was like, I bring this character out to draw awareness to certain things because you can't get somebody's attention by speaking clearly. You got to hit them with a shovel.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it has clicked. I was like, damn. He's got it. He knows what's going on. And once you hear him say that and you go back and rewatch everything, you were like, yeah, this dude, he was way ahead of his time on that one.
Oh, I can't even say ahead of his time. He was perfect time. Perfect time.
He more so also mastered the art of the stuff that Alice Cooper did. Because the whole shock rock thing, he was able to do that.
You had Ozzy, you had Alice Cooper, and Alice Cooper's a super genius too.
Yeah.
I think he's a member of Mensa.
Probably.
He's Alice Cooper is extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
And an avid golfer, which is hilarious.
Cracks me up.
Oh my God, I love it. But Manson took everything to a whole different level, was intentionally blasphemous.
Oh, yeah.
Made songs making Antichrist Superstar.
Yeah.
He made an album dedicated to
but
making fun of.
But it was also, that was part of his idea of the trilogy. You had, Portrait of American Family. It was, the kid that was misunderstood, that was always ostracized on things, had a, bad parental upbringing. And it was like all of these little messages in there. And like the song Lunchbox, stand up for yourself and fight back.
Dude.
And it was that. And then you had Antichrist Superstar. And if you listen,
before and between there though,
well, it was a Smells Like Children.
Yes,
yeah, but that was more of a
kind of a remix album,
a little bit. Yeah, it was like more of the weird stuff that they were trying to experiment with. But then even with Antichrist, whenever you listen to that, the way that album is structured, it's a story from beginning to end.
Oh yeah,
and you get to that part where they have that real, like the cryptic thing, prick my finger, here I come, the moon is,
prick my finger, it is done.
Yeah, the moon is now
eclipsed the sun, angel has spread its wings, the time has come for better things.
And then as soon as that happens, after that's done, the rest of that album, it's like a whole different vibe. Everything is different. And it's
I love the end of...
He has embraced all of it, like, that thing. And then you have...
Isn't it the end of Antichrist Superstar, the song, when he goes, when you are suffering, know that I have betrayed you.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. But it was funny because I kept telling people all the time, like even ones that were just like, I don't like Manson. I was like, dude, listen to this album. Just listen to it like 2-3 times over the course of whatever, but at least one time from start to finish. And I was like, I guarantee you, as soon as this one particular song hits, I was like, you're going to get hooked. It's going to happen. And it's the way that it was made.
Yeah. And I love mechanical animals. But then he really hit a great stride too with Hollywood and Golden Age of Grotesque.
Yes,
like it was like he brought back the Antichrist vibe and was like,
well, he caught a lot of flack for the mechanical animals thing, and it was mostly the people that fell in love with
the androgynous
it wasn't even just that. Like to me,
the electronic vibe.
Yeah,
the
but it was
industrial.
But it was also like it had like a.
But he even said that
it was part of a progression.
Well, he said that mechanical animals he made for himself.
Yeah.
He was like, all these other albums that I've made are for you.
Yeah.
He's like, this is something I made for myself.
But it was also a situation from where he explained it. It was like, once he like had his breakout in Antichrist, it was like, future. Well, it wasn't even just that. It was because Mechanical Animals had a lot of stuff about drug abuse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just like,
that was his personal...
all of the inner demons and stuff, and it was
that's one of the best songs too.
But it was a
don't
thing.
like the drugs.
He just and that was the thing. It was like
me.
they got to that, and it was people didn't relate to it because they wanted that angry Antichrist thing. It was like, where did this? It's like you fell back into the '70s in this disco era full of drugs and just debauchery. What happened? And he's just like, it's part of the progression. You have the young kid who becomes a star, who falls to the traps of all of the Hollywood shit, and then falls. And then all of a sudden you have Hollywood that comes back. It's like he's coming back again, and it's all part of this thing. And most people just didn't see it.
Well, isn't Manson the one that coined the term celebritarianism?
Yes.
I mean, dude, I
think it was him and Trent Reznor both were talking about that.
He realized what was happening with our society and culture before everyone else did. He was like, you people, he's like, even you people that call yourselves Christians, you don't worship Christ or God, you worship celebrities.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you allow celebrities to influence you politically, socially, all of your
because that's
aspects of life are influenced by celebrities that are other human beings.
Like when Manson and Reznor teamed back up and they had the song Starfuckers.
Yes.
It was the same thing. I mean, that was it. It was a giant middle finger of these people that were just worshiping celebrity stuff. It was like, you have lost your identity as a people, and you're looking at like something that is mass produced and put in front of your face, and you happen to think that's what it is.
Look through the years, it's just gotten worse. Now you have have a family like the Kardashians who should not be famous for any reason at all, and now this whole family is just super famous and making money hand over fist, and the typical American eats it up, and meanwhile, those of us who know the word celebritarianism, it's just like, oh my God, man, it's just gonna get worse.
Like I mentioned this earlier to you, about like listening to the Joe Rogan stuff. He, in one of his stand-ups, he brought that thing up where he was talking about, it was the discussion about, how he thinks aliens are just fucking with us. And he was like, why didn't they come back? He's like, what could you imagine if they did? He was like, you'd have to explain to them society. And he was like, what are you going to have to do? He was like, you have to explain the Kardashians. Like Kim Kardashian. He was like, he goes, after you tell them that story, they're going to be like, nah, we got to fucking kill you. Like, you're
done.
He's like,
you're done.
He's like, I wanted to kill you at the explanation of football, but this, come on now. But it's true. Like, it's horrible. And I get so aggravated about that stuff all the time because, you see all these people that they just like, they idol worship ignorance. And oh my God.
Hey, I don't know if you've ever heard of this band, but I'm going to introduce you to a band possibly. Have you ever heard Motionless in White?
No.
Okay. You love Manson.
Yeah.
You're going to love these guys. The main dude looks like he could be Manson's kid.
That's awesome.
And he can scream and sing. And they have a song called America.
Nice.
And you need to watch the video, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be checking that out tonight.
Dude, straight up, he's in the song. He says, "We take medications to." Oh God, what is it? We take medication to. Oh God, dude. Anyway, he's talking, and then he talks about like. We're uploading content will buy you a sentence. They're all eating cake up on Capitol Hill. But the chorus line's like, we're living one big nightmare. God save the human race. And talking about making saints out of nameless pop stars.
Yeah.
Where's the intelligence? And it's like America. Home of the free, the sick and depraved. I can't. I promise you watch his video. You watch Motionless in White's videos. You're going to be like, this is the heir apparent to Manson.
Yeah.
And they are not getting their due. Like, they've been out for years now, and it's just not like
the fucking corporate machine's keeping it down.
There's just too much.
Yeah.
Too much like media to consume, and you just get lost in the shuffle. That's why I'm saying if Manson had tried to do that now in today's hell no, dude, it would be so overlooked and what.
Oh yeah.
But maybe not, because you have to look at the way I think that the way the entertainment industry is today, I mean, on regular TV, now they're saying words like shit and God damn it and things like that. Like, and they're showing partial nudity and things. All of this goes back to Manson in the early mid 90s. And he really slapped our entire country in the face. I mean, if you remember back then, everyone was talking about him, whether they had ever heard his music or not. Everyone had an opinion.
Yeah, the whole censorship movement was horrible at that point.
And I think, honestly, that's why I say it was the perfect time, because you had the perfect man to lead that front, because he did not waver. But he did not flex. He was rigid fucking steel, and he would dismantle you at every turn. Whatever your perspective was against him, he would rip you to shreds.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing that happened in '99 when Columbine happened.
Oh God!
And they blamed him.
He took so much flack for that.
He was on one of the major news networks, and he said, "That's fine. You can blame me for this." And that's fine. He goes, this is a tragedy, and it's really sad what happened. But he goes, let me ask you this. In the book that you place so much stock into, when Cain killed Abel, what influence did he have?
Yeah.
Bitch! Oh my God. Shut up. Like, that's when you eviscerated them on worldwide television.
And it's like look at him and like, why aren't you running your mouth now? That's right, because you got your fucking teeth smacked out.
Yeah, and it's one of those like, oh, we've made a horrible mistake. This is a huge error in judgment. And that's one of those, they're looking at whoever, like whatever producer decided this would be a good idea, and like, how much research did you actually do into this man?
Not much.
No, not much. Either that or whatever producer set that up was a fan of Manson and hated the people that he worked with. It was like, I'm going to fuck all of you.
Yeah, the inside job. Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. Like,
but he was like, you can blame me for this. That's fine. I'll take it. But when Cain killed Abel, what influence did he have? And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's to me, you were talking about like the idolizing celebrity stuff. Like, that's why I don't really ever watch TV. Like, it does nothing for me. I see this type of behavior, and it just makes me pray for the media even more. I was like, because I can't in any way, shape, or form try to change the way you view things because you were so ingrained in that fucking idiot box. It has programmed your brain and fucked your entire perspective up. There's no hope for you.
That's why, like, you look around, my idols consist of music, like musicians, artists, and things that aren't real.
Right.
Deadpool, fucking Baby Yeet.
But that's the thing. Like, even with Deadpool, like... that character has changed from the way that he originally started to what he is now.
Oh, he was just when he originally debuted.
He was an assassin.
98. He was just a mercenary
with a mouth that wouldn't shut up.
Yeah,
but he
wasn't even
crazy.
really that funny though. In the original.
Yeah, like it was the old New Mutants book or whatever it was.
Yeah, New Mutants 98, and then when he got Circle Chase.
Yep.
The 4 series, his little 4-part series. That's when he started getting funny, and then he started going crazy and became schizophrenic. And
just because they said that the cancer had eaten away his brain, and it keeps like rewiring itself. He's like, I keep dying and coming back.
He has the crazy voice and the sane voice.
Yeah, but see, to me, like, you look at something like Deadpool. That's the perfect type of thing that you can use because you have, the weird split personality situation where you have the crazy voice that's telling you all these things to where it's almost like the fucking voice of reason that most people won't listen to. And they're like, no, I gotta be like this. And it's like, the government's fucking with you. No, they're not. They gotta, they're protecting us.
No, the government loves us.
Yeah. And it's a thing. I mean, that everybody needs to listen to that little inner voice a little bit more. Put the shit down. Step away from step away from fucking social media. Step away from computers.
Chocolate.
Like, my God. Yeah, it's like I sit there, like, there are people that I know that, the way they talk about certain things and, like their viewpoints on stuff, I'm just like, you are fucking lost completely, and there's no hope for you. Like, I don't think anything is going to fix it.
The thing that really I don't get the most are people that are obsessed with reality shows. I
blame MTV completely for that.
Fuck, man. Like, I remember, like, the first, 3 or 4 seasons of The Real World were cool.
Because it was different.
They were not scripted. Those motherfuckers were at each other's throats all the goddamn time.
It was the first, 2 seasons, I think it was. And it was right around, the
one
third
with
or
Puck.
fourth.
The one with Puck and Pedro, I'm going to tell you what.
That motherfucker
there was animosity.
Nuts.
Dude, Puck, you know that Puck became like a producer for MTV after that?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He was being himself, but he also realized... I can make this show better just being myself and not harnessing and reining myself in.
Because he realized that the crazier that he got, the more attention that it drew to it.
Yes.
So but that was the problem.
That poisoned the well, and then everybody you got after that was people trying to.
Yeah, it's the way that most everything goes anyway. It's like as soon as somebody does something, and it's like, it's popular, they try to oversaturate it.
Yes, that show created trending before the term trending existed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
it's
could you imagine if social media would have existed when those first Real World series the seasons were on?
If the internet was,
I bet the show would have been taken off the air.
If the internet and social media would have been around at that point in time, I honestly think we probably would have already been dead by now.
Possibly,
like. It would have been like if you think that,
it's a good thing that it was a gradual growth the way it was.
Things are falling apart at a drastic rate right now, and most people don't see it. If you had that shit happening like 30 years ago,
in the 90s,
oh god, it would have accelerated things way worse.
Oh yeah,
we'd be fucked by now. So the hell that we're all going to be experiencing within the next few years, that shit would have happened like back in '92.
But see, but that's kind of my point is. I don't think that it will reach a true breakdown point. I don't think so.
No, I see it.
I think what's going to happen is over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, because you're already starting to see this. So this whole woke movement that started about 4 years ago, it all goes back to a goddamn gorilla. That fucking gorilla, man. But look, this whole woke movement and the whole mindset of this overreaching political correctness and inclusion and all, you're already seeing it start to turn on itself, because now these people who were adamantly on each other's sides are now like, well, fuck you. Oh my God, no, I'm not going to do this. Well, this is what we're all doing. Well, no, we're all not doing that now. So, and then now they're splintering off and they're attacking each other. Within the next I'm going to tell you, 10 years from now, and when we're in 2030, people are going to look back at this time and it's going to be fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's going to be really embarrassing. Like the whole, look, yes, trans people should have rights. Gay, lesbian, whatever, they should have the rights.
People.
Yes, they are. But
that's
people.
why.
But here's the thing: it doesn't need to be shoved down everybody's throat.
Right.
Like well, we've been held down for so. You know what? All you're doing is turning people off to your cause. Be a fucking human being.
Yeah.
I don't need your non-binary, fucking gender fluid. I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Yep.
I don't fucking care. Are you a good person? Because if that's all you can talk about to me in public or in a conversation, fuck off, man. I'm trying to sit here and drink my beer with my friends and laugh and have fun. And if I call my friend a faggot for saying something stupid, I'm not calling him gay.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about his sexual orientation. Calling him a faggot because it's a funny fucking word.
Well, but it's people want to get mad about just words.
Oh yeah,
Why?
Sounds that we make with our face.
Yeah, why?
And nobody ever wants to bring in the context
exactly
of how these words are used.
Oh yeah,
like God, fuck
and that's
off.
Like you see that all the time. Like I know
there it is. The outrage culture.
Yeah,
10 years from now, the outrage culture. Oh my God, dude! People are gonna look back, and I'm gonna be happy as fuck to point out to people I know when they start making fun of the outrage culture. I'm gonna be like,
you were part of that.
You want me to start digging up posts on Facebook from 2018 to 2020? Because I'll be happy to show you the kind of dickhead you were.
Yep.
I'll show you.
They're going to be people at that time are going to be looking back at this era and they're going to be laughing at it like the way we do when we look back at the 80s.
When you look at the 80s,
when we look at the 80s and go, what the fuck was I wearing?
Everybody was coked out of their mind wearing bright ass neon spandex.
Yeah, and it was the era of no drugs.
Right.
Yeah. Dare.
Yeah, dare. But everybody was on coke. Even me in the 3rd grade, I think. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, you look at that. How embarrassing is the Just Say No campaign and the war on drugs? Oh now we're in 2020. Most of the states are starting to legalize at least marijuana. Now you got states legalizing psychedelics because actual research
Only one.
Well,
Colorado.
Right now.
Yeah. Well, because they found
California and Washington and Oregon, they're going to follow suit quickly.
Yeah. Well, California will definitely, but that's
where the research is happening.
Well, but it's because the fact that Colorado was the first. Like they're the trendsetters of this, and they also realize that there is there's scientific data that has proven that psychedelics mushrooms fix parts of your brain.
The microdosing of psychedelics helps with PTSD, helps with memory loss, and it also helps you be a better human being because it better connects you to the universe around you.
And that's the kicker, is the fact that it allows you to unlock shit that's in your brain that has kind of shut itself off.
There's the proposed, not really even theory, this is just proposed sentiment that mushrooms are the responsibility for all gods. Because when I can kind of see that when human beings started, using there's also the thought that psychedelics are what's responsible for human beings pushing our evolution so fast in such a short amount of time.
Who was it? It was
Joe Rogan.
It was Terrence McKenna that did that.
Yes, Terrence McKenna says it very eloquently.
He was on the cusp of a lot of smart shit.
Joe Rogan says it bluntly. He goes, look, people, once upon a time we were monkeys, and then we found mushrooms, and now we're different.
Yeah.
That's the timeline.
Yep.
Right there. We found mushrooms, and now we're different. And
I can see it.
I think that, when those early early socialized, like communal man was using mushrooms. I think that gods, like the gods and deities that they encountered while they were on these trips, were a good thing, and they helped bring people together. And then people figured out how to twist it and use it to control people.
Okay, let's go ahead and attack the evil shit in the room, and let's go with Christianity. That's what it was. It was the fact that it was a tool used.
Fuck, dude, this goes back way.
Oh,
this
it does.
goes thousands.
Well, it
of
does.
years
But I mean,
before.
that's the thing. You have like a lot of these. People want to complain about stuff, and I say this stuff all the time to people. When we talk about things like. Half of everything that you worship or, you celebrate, you might as well thank pagans for that shit. Because Christianity, basically amassed an army that forced people into bending to their will. It was like, you either worship our God or we kill you.
And then there was also an inclusive compromise of,
and
we'll bring your holidays in.
Yes.
And
but
we'll
we have to
adapt
rename
them.
them.
Yeah, we're going to adapt them as our own, and we're going to tweak them a little bit. Like, Christmas and...
Yeah. In
fucking Easter, which is Ishtar.
But even still, like, you think about the way we talk about, back in the day, like, Jesus wasn't supposedly born on December 25th. That was some other shit that had been brought over. He was born in a different era. Like, you think about what the way they talk about it in the Bible, of like the birth and whatnot, it doesn't match up with like
he would have been born during
like
the
in the spring.
summer month.
Yeah, so like summer, spring.
It's
or
like
something
late
like that.
spring, early summer is when it's cold there.
Yeah.
And
It does.
And so all they did was
me.
adapt. They adapted Yule.
Yep.
And everything to do with Christmas celebration, the trees, the giving of gifts. First of all, Odin was the first form of Santa.
Yeah. The Allfather.
Like, Woden was the Allfather. Yes.
See, like,
and he was Santa Claus.
Like, I'll tell you a story. Like, my wife actually gets a kick out of this, and I don't know if I've ever told you this yet or not, but it was a day that she and I got married. Like, we were deciding, we stayed here. We decided we were going to go check out some shops downtown Newburgh, whatever. And I got out of the car. She was talking to her mom. These kids from the Church of Jesus Christ on the 10 speeds pulled up and talked to me. It was like, oh, would you be willing to talk to us for a few minutes? I'm like,
yeah, sure. 18-year-old virgin. Let's have a conversation.
I was like, yeah. I was like, that's cool. And I remember hearing this. Like, my wife turned the corner and she saw me talking to these kids, and I heard her go, oh, fuck. And her mom, I heard her mom on the phone. She was like, what? And she was like, these kids from, like these religious kids.
These Mormon kids.
It's like they just stopped Jimmy on the side of the road to talk to him. And I heard her mom on the phone go, oh, this ought to be good. But we sat there and we talked about things. And like, they kept asking me all these questions for stuff. And like, for one, they was like, well, do you believe that Jesus was the, the Savior and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I'm not saying that there wasn't a Jesus. I can't say that he was the Son of God because, we weren't there. We don't know. I was like, but if you look throughout history, I was like, there's been other people who have had the same things, born on December 25th of a virgin birth, who has died, come back to life, perform miracles, do all this. The last one in your, in recent history that you can think of is Horus from ancient Egypt. It's like, it's been like that all over.
That's the first one.
Well, there's been two that I know of, and I can't remember the name of the second one.
Horus is the first.
Well, I think there was one before that.
No.
Are you sure?
Horus is the original when it comes to the virgin birth and all that. Yeah. Horus. And then there's Isis.
Well, Isis was a little different, but like
it is different,
Horus,
but it's the same thing. Then you've got Mithras, Krishna.
Yeah, that's it.
What, Vishnu? There's like 17.
It's all the different things.
Dionysus.
Yeah.
There's like 17 or 18. I was talking about this to Ed.
Yep.
When we did our show. There's like 17 or 18 before Jesus.
Yeah.
That either had 12 followers or they had 12 siblings.
Yep.
Like there was all of this.
It's all lost in translation.
If you've ever noticed that magic number 12 appears
all over
a lot. And that's what really helped shape our calendar.
Yeah.
And that's why they're, the seasons.
Yep.
Like it's okay. The crucifixion and then the resurrection. Well, those are representative of the time for the spring equinox.
Yep.
And that is the symbolism of when the sun hangs at its lowest point at the end of winter for 3 days and then begins its ascent.
But then if you also
back up.
But if you also look,
It rises.
They took Jesus off the cross, put him in the cave, and 3 days later he walked out. You look back at the Horus stage, what was it? He died, and it was either his mom or his wife had to go find the body parts and put him back together because the people not only killed his ass, but they fucking dismembered him.
Yes.
So they had to bring him back together. It was a 3-day period that happened. But like, they kept asking me all this stuff, and they were just like, well, do you think you need to go to church and pray to God? I'm like, why? I was like, for me personally, it's like, I believe there has to be something that created all of this.
I just believe in energy.
I mean, that's the thing for me. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you can call it. I was like, but there has to be something. Like, there is too much intelligent design in human creation.
But see, that's just it. I look at, okay, a lot of people have views on autism.
Right.
Think about when we were kids in the 80s. There weren't a whole lot of autistic people. There was fucking movie.
Because there wasn't a name for it.
Well, but there weren't a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
There was a name. Fuck, we knew what autism was from Rain Man.
Yeah.
That was what, 1985? 86?
Something around there.
I think 86.
It was late 80s at least.
Dustin Hoffman played it masterfully, like embodied it.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't until late 90s, early 2000s that autism really started coming to the forefront. And then, up in the later 2000s and the teens, like into the teens, that's when it really surged.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that autism is a disability. I don't
either.
I have a theory that right now we're experiencing
there's a shift in evolution.
Early growth, like early growing pains in our next evolution to where we shift into
a higher
not
form.
Emotionless, but just because most people with like who are on the autistic spectrum, yes, they have emotions, but
their brain capacity is so much more advanced.
Oh yeah, when it comes to other areas of our lives,
like case in point, there's a friend of mine from years back.
Science and math. He
has a son that's like he's at this point I guess you would call it like a highly functioning autistic kid. And I remember the first time that like I really realized what was going on with him was back when the Guitar Hero games and shit were big. This kid, like, he was...
Can 100%
well, that was the
on
thing.
expert.
He was playing the fucking drums on this thing, and, like, I was sitting here talking to him, and he wasn't paying attention. He was just staring at the screen.
Laser focus.
Yeah, and I kept looking at my buddy Trent. I was like, what the fuck's going on? He was like, just give him a second. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, just wait. He goes, I promise you, he's going to start talking to you. I was like, okay. So,
and he's going to answer everything that you said.
And that was the thing. He sat there and he watched the whole thing, and as soon as the pattern repeats, he stopped and looked at me and started talking, playing the whole time, and didn't mess up anything.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit. He goes, yeah, he has all this memorized. Like, Rubik's Cube stuff, same thing.
Yeah.
The kid's, like, he was, I think, probably, he was in junior high at the time. He spoke, like, 5 languages fluently. Like,
that's what I think that our species is heading toward.
Yeah.
Like, autism. And if you think about it, here, I mean, we're not going to be here for it, but...
Probably not.
Give it, if our species can make it another 1,000 to 2,000 years, I would not be surprised if the majority of the people have some form are on the spectrum of autism on this planet.
Oh, I can see it.
And then you give it 10,000 years, and our entire species is going to be like that, and they're going to be laser focused. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be kind to each other for the most part. I mean, they're going to be blunt and direct, but there's not going to be any concealment. Everything's going to be transparent. Mm-hmm. Like, your thoughts. Well, people are just going to be honest with each other.
Like look back in the 60s, and they kept talking about the age of Aquarius and 70s and shit. It wasn't this crazy thing. It was an awakening of people. Mm-hmm. Transitioning from one thing to another. You look at Tool song 46 and 2.
Yep.
That was about a book from Carl Jung about the human evolution gaining 2 more chromosomes or whatever, or 2 more strands of DNA that's supposed to evolve you as a person. And it was a transformation of going from one thing to another.
Yep.
And you can see that stuff even happening now. But the problem is, I think right now we're being controlled too much by social media and dumb shit. People don't want to take the time to try to like actually evolve in things. They're just stuck in dumb shit.
That's just it. The people who are here right now, we can't evolve. Like yes. I do. I love this saying, and I tell people this, and a lot of people, it grabs them. And I'm like, no one wakes up the same person they went to sleep as. Every single one of us are different.
Yeah.
In some way, the following day, like when you go to sleep and you wake up, you are different than when you went to sleep.
Well, even if you want to talk about on a scientific level, you got to think about it. Your body is shedding skin Your cells are changing. You're producing brand new stuff. So you eventually have like turned into a whole new person anyway.
Yes. At this point in our lives, we've been through several complete human bodies.
Oh yeah.
It's weird when you break it down on that molecular level.
Yeah, and the only thing you really have left is your eyes and your teeth. As they don't change. But
But they do.
Teeth. Well, I mean, except for the fact, like once you get your adult teeth, like
they.
It's not like we're sharks to where it just keeps fucking
Well,
producing.
right, no. But I think, honestly, once we hit certain levels of medical advancement, things like that, like,
oh, yeah.
I think we're going to hit a point to where, especially with nanite technology
it's going to
being implemented, people will just, you could get your arm chopped off, and within 48 to 72 hours, you're going to have grown a new arm.
But it's also going to be once people realize that, stem cell research is going to be the key for a lot of this, and they actually embrace it. Stop fucking with dumb shit and start looking for the future.
One of the first things that needs to happen in the next wave of humanity, like that next step, religion as a whole needs to be outlawed. I'm hoping.
Well, okay.
I know that we won't be here for it, but my hope is it won't even have to hit a point of being outlawed. It will be a global consensus of, hey, we're just leaving this behind. This is done.
Now, I don't have a problem with religion being used as a sense of somebody like, having to feel a sense of community or
you don't need that for a sense of community.
Well,
though.
but I'm saying some people it helps. It really does. But the fucking
those people
zealots,
worry me. Those people scare people that need here you go. Penn Jillette said this to someone who said to him, well, without the Bible, people would be, killing and raping and stealing all they want. And Penn Jillette says, I kill and rape and steal all I want right now.
Yeah.
Which is none.
Exactly.
And I don't need a book to tell me that those things are bad.
Mm-mm.
He was like, that's a false sense of morality. And he goes, and if that's the only thing keeping you from that is a fear of the unknown, you terrify me.
Yeah.
Like, you're a shitty person. That's my view of that.
No,
that
I can see like where you're coming from on that. But I'm talking about like, the harmless people that are just like that. They enjoy the sense of community to where like they can get together and share beliefs.
But that's just it. You don't need mysticism involved in community and love and.
But these people also
need
to realize that shit was put in there as a way to control you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think eventually the human brain will evolve past. Imagine, here you go. The only way that religion even still exists today is because they indoctrinate children. Yeah. That's it. Imagine. There's the first step of outlawing.
Yep.
Until a person reaches 25 years of age, that is when you are a true adult. That's when your frontal lobe finishes developing. Before then, if you subject your child to any type of religious text, any type of sermon, you take them to church, you have committed like child endangerment. Like this should be considered child abuse because you are influencing someone who doesn't know any better. And now imagine a 25-year-old with a fully formed brain who has never heard anything about religion, and you try to tell them about God. They're going to look at you like you are the goofiest fucking thing they've ever seen.
See, that goes back to the story that I was telling to those the kids that stopped me. They were asking about things, and they pretty much brought up my youngest daughter. And they were like, well, don't you want her, praising Jesus? And I'm like, no. I'm like, here's my thing. I was like, I'm not going to push a religion on them. I want her to be able to go and grab books from any religion that they want, whichever one speaks to her. That's what she needs to follow. If none of them speak to her, fine. That's it.
I think that people should read. Fuck, you can't even get Christians to read the Bible.
No.
Let alone to study other religions. But I've read more books about religions than most people have ever heard of. Like, I've studied religions. When I say the names of them to people, they're like, what is that?
And see, that's the thing that I asked them, that when they said something to me, I'm like, that's, one of the other biggest problems that I have with this whole thing. Like, it's not so much that I don't believe that there is a creator of some sort, but why in the fuck do there have to be like 30 different religions here and they all scream, if you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell? I don't agree with that in the slightest.
I wish I could be here for this. 500 years from now, my bet is religions around the world become part of museums.
Probably.
Museums of like natural history.
Fucking
things like-
in 500 years, we better do, like, this place better almost be an afterthought, and we need to be like fucking out in like other planets, doing other things. We need to be.
But that's just it. Like 500 years from now, religion is going to be treated like we treat the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's just, well, this is a part of the Earth's history. Okay. Well, or how we look at the Dark Ages now.
Yeah.
How we look at the, the 12, 13, 14, 1500s.
The fucking savages.
Yeah, like, what? Wait, what? People
Yeah.
lived in castles, and these people, like, revered them as kings, and
Yeah.
what? Like, that's... And 500 years now, people are going to be like, these people believed in these imaginary beings? Like, wait, what? And they worshipped them, and wait, they gave money to these buildings and these other humans that were in charge of these buildings that the money doesn't go to the imaginary being, and then some of these people stole the money from the buildings. And
you look back at old 9 Inch Nails lyrics, putting this back into musical reference things. Trent Reznor, he said that he dreamt his God up to keep his flock of sheep in line.
yeah,
God is dead and no one cares.
yep.
It's like, that's pretty much the way it is. It's used as a tool to control you and to make you fearful of things.
Religion was the first form of law.
Yeah. And
It was controlled through fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's dumb. Then, like, when those kids ask me, it's like, do you, shouldn't you go to church? Like, no. It's like, with me and my views on a God of some sort, if I want to talk to God, I'll do it whenever I want. I can do it right now, outside in nature. I don't have to
do
be
it right here.
I don't have to be in a specific place on a specific day with a bunch of fuckers. No, that's not that. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all.
If there's anything that even resembles a type of God, it would just be consciousness, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be.
Your conscience, like
there was
the brain is God, and that's why I try to tell people, I'm like, you are your own God. You realize that you're the center of your universe.
Yeah.
You, Jimmy Russelburg, are the center of your universe. If you die,
the world
none
ends.
of this exists.
Exactly. There was a theory that I remember seeing a long time ago, and it was talking about, somebody had brought up like the idea of a God particle, and this person had a theory that basically everything is made up of a single molecule or an atom, and that thing is traveling everywhere, like infinitely, and we are all made up of the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of interesting way of thinking about that,
And
But-
we all came from a star.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people have trouble with the Big Bang, and
But it's you can't refute the
thermodynamic
fucking science.
expansion. People just they don't get it, and but the expansion, and even Carl Sagan said, we're all everything on our planet.
We're all star
everything.
people.
We're all made of star stuff.
Yeah.
We're all made of star particles, and that's been shown to be true.
Well, that's just
so
like
many times over.
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about something on a show that I saw not too terribly long ago, where he was saying that they were talking about Elon Musk trying to terraform and doctor up Mars and turn that into a livable environment. And he was like, okay, he's like, so how are you going to get water there? Is he going to do it the way that it happened on Earth, where they took a fucking meteor and sent it over there and it basically just melted into the water? He's like, that's how it got here. It was like, like everything on this planet has, like, you can go to other planets and find the same shit.
Yep.
So that right there should go to show you that we're all connected somehow.
Now we know that on Mars, under the surface, there's
water.
flowing rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that Mars, they suspect at one time, because of the way Mars is mapped and canyoned out, that Mars had a surface very similar to Earth.
Yeah.
And that's where Graham Hancock comes in for me.
I fucking love that.
God damn. That dude coined the best phrase to deal with our species that's ever been said, and that is we are a species with amnesia.
Yeah.
We could very well have come from Mars.
Well, and I talked to my youngest daughter about this. It was probably like, maybe a month ago, I'd say. Or maybe not even that long. She came in, she was asking me some wild-ass question about something, and, I just went off on a tangent of some weird shit with her. And I remember telling her, I was just like, think about it. I was like, let's say, for instance, let's take, like, a trip down the imaginary trail if you want. Imagine if human beings actually colonized Mars beforehand, and we fucked up the environment so bad that we had to escape that place and go someplace else. So they put two motherfuckers in a pod, Adam and Eve, and they showed up here on Earth. And then all of a sudden, that's where humans came from on Earth. And she was just like, well, what about the dinosaurs? I was like, okay, here's another thing. I was like, you look at the old, the old movie or, the book, The War of the Worlds. How did they take out the aliens? It was a fucking...
Biological.
It was a fucking virus.
It was cold. Basically, the common cold.
It was a virus that they had no immunities to. If we came from another fucking planet and showed up here and all of a sudden unleashed a fucking, like a strain of bacteria that was not present on this place, anything that doesn't have an immunity to it is going to die. So then they go. And then they start replicating. It was like, it's possible.
Which, the story of Adam and Eve doesn't check out quite so well because, well, first of all, then we're disregarding Lilith.
Yeah,
but
I mentioned that too to somebody. Then, and they didn't get it. They were who? It's like, you never heard of Lilith? No. It's like, oh, okay, whatever.
When they are banished from the Garden of Eden, there's Cain and Abel, and Cain kills Abel, and then Cain is sent off, and
where the rest of them come from?
People.
Yeah.
Meets people.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't tell us about these people. Where'd these people come from?
Well, even if you look back through it, you start reading stuff in the Bible in the very beginning when you're talking about Genesis, when God says, let us create this. Who the fuck is he talking to?
Oh, hold on. The whole eating of the forbidden fruit.
Yep. They
cannot be allowed to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or they will become like us.
Who's us?
Wait, what? Who's us?
Yeah.
Who's us? That's not me. Mm-hmm. That's plural, us.
Yeah.
And then I've had people say, well, that means the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm like, you're way, way ahead.
Yeah.
This is way before Jesus or any of that shit.
Yep.
Way before.
And then the other thing, when that happens, when Eve supposedly eats the apple and God comes to heaven, or comes down to Eden from heaven to talk to, them, he comes out and states, come out from hiding. Where are you? If God is all knowing,
if you're all knowing,
how the fuck do you not know where these people are at?
Exactly.
There's just too many little holes with some shit.
And I've tried to tell people, I'm like, imagine this. If there were somehow a singular creator, mm-hmm. he gives less than a fuck about you.
Yeah.
You're an experiment.
Oh.
That is it.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the other thing. So, the Adam and Eve, sending the two people, or however many people mm-hmm. could get off, let's say Mars.
Yep.
However many people could get off and make it here, could explain
the different races?
Well, the gap, not only just different races, but the gap from Cro-Magnon, the Neanderthal, and why 3% of the human population on the Earth right now have Neanderthal DNA. Right now in 2020, 3% of the world population has Neanderthal DNA. That means we are not different species because different species can't breed.
Yeah. Or shouldn't be able to, and if you do, it's more like an abomination that just really can't survive.
Right. It's gonna have it's gonna have huge amounts of health problems.
I remember hearing a theory a long time ago where they were, somebody was mentioning that basically, aliens came down here and experimented on monkeys and created shit. Now I actually have an easier time. Yep. I have an easier time accepting that than I do the concept of religion.
This is a lab.
Yeah.
That's all this is. That's all our planet is, in my opinion.
And if you look at the genetics of a human and you look at the genetics of a gorilla or a chimpanzee, there is 2 chromosomes different between the two of us. Now, what would those 2 chromosomes be?
Time out. You want me to fuck you up even worse?
Here's my thing.
Hold on. We share 97% the same DNA of chimpanzees.
Exactly.
However, we share 98% the same DNA as pigs.
That's interesting too.
Combine a pig with a chimpanzee.
Looks like a human.
Yeah. Not far off, anyway. I can point some people out to you that look like a pig, maybe with a chimpanzee.
But somebody asked me, they was like, well, what would those 2 chromosomes be? I was like, okay, let's say, for instance, you came down, you found some shit, and you were able to play, mad scientist with some shit, and you created, the first evolution of man, and you didn't really fuck with the genetics behind things. Imagine what would happen if you had a human being who had the brain capacity and the thought processes that we do with the fucking strength of a gorilla. You think you can control that?
Right.
No, you cannot. So what do? You change those 2 DNA. You take the intelligence out of the monkeys and you take the strength out of the humans. Ta-da. There's those fucking 2 chromosomes.
Right. That's the thing is the leap the leap between Neanderthal is the last,
Yeah.
and then us, the leap
Is
the gap
too extreme.
between they no scientist, no physicist, no geneticist can explain it, because they're just like, it's too big of a leap. And here's another thing I'll give you. In the past 100 years, so up until 100 years ago, our technology advanced at a rate of like, I think it was 2 to 3% over like 200 or 300 years at a time.
Yeah.
So basically like 1% a year or what. In the past 100 years, we hit, I may be saying that,
yeah.
but I think it's like an 11% spike in the past 100 years. And now it's just exponentially getting, dude, something's happening with us, with our planet. And yeah, I think honestly, it's not even a, George Carlin did put it in a very good way that we are fleas on the back of a gigantic dog.
Yeah.
And if she gets irritated enough, she will shake and we will go away.
Yeah.
But I think that it's not even a point of, oh, we're using too many resources and blah. I think people lie about oil. I think that oil is infinitely regenerating. I think that it basically functions as blood for what is a living planet.
Probably.
And there is plenty of it, and it's never going to run out. It's always going to be getting refilled. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And if you look, I know that people talk about climate change and global warming, but if you look at the actual zones of pollution around the world, do you realize it's not the United States?
Well, it's not like, to me. Now,
so fucked up, man.
Now I can see to a point how, humans as a society could do detrimental damage, but like
I don't think so at all.
But like Carlin had said before, do you really think that we can fucking make that much of a damage in that small of amount of time? Now, granted, if the
Earth has gone through these cycles,
exactly,
the Earth goes through these cycles every 10 to 12,000 years.
That's what I was getting at. You look at the last time that there was a polar shift. What ended up happening? Okay, look at ancient Egypt for instance, Graham Hancock. He pissed off a lot of people because he had showed on the Sphinx that there is water erosion.
Yes.
And everybody was like,
it was a lush, tropic environment.
And when was that? 17,000 years ago. And why do they not want to accept that? Because that means that fucking Egyptians didn't build that shit. Because it's not the 3,000 years old.
Do you remember? Have you read his books?
I've got Fingerprints of the Gods. And all.
Oh my God, so great! But in one of them, he's talking about the mastodon that was discovered in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Yeah,
and
it was still like fucking like frozen and intact or some crazy shit.
Well, they were cutting into the street or whatever and getting down under the street, and it was found, and that the bones
still had marrow in it,
but the bones had been cracked, and the marrow had been eaten, and the tools found were close by. This is in America.
Yeah,
and this one paleontologist said, well, bones could have fractured, blah blah blah, and Graham Hancock quickly pointed out, these are not splinter fractures, these are spiral fractures that can only happen in fresh green bone. These are spiral fractures that were intentionally, like, these bones were intentionally cracked and split to get the marrow out for sustenance. Yeah. And there's only one creature on this planet that can do that, and that's us. Yeah. And that puts human beings, that puts Homo sapien here in America like 150,000 years ago.
Which is supposedly not the thing.
That fucks everything up.
Mm-hmm. What's this like on Facebook?
And then when they found the Denisovans in Russia, in the caves, that are like the hobbits.
You heard about what they just found in Mammoth Cave just recently, didn't you?
What?
They got fucking shark teeth in the caves.
Oh, yeah.
Like great white sharks and shit.
Yeah.
In a cave.
Yep.
In the middle of fucking Kentucky. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that explains like a lot of shit. Like, in the Fingerprints of the Gods, where he's talking about the Piri Reis map, how
Antarctica was not a frozen tundra.
How it wasn't. It's mapped out. We figured it out using like sonar technology, but then there was also all these other islands.
But it wasn't until sonar and like the LiDAR that they figured out, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
That's an actual landmass under there.
And then there was other islands and stuff that were just chilling out there. It's like, there's no such thing as this, and they floated over. It's like, holy fuck, they're there.
Yep.
How the fuck did that map get made that long ago?
Exactly.
Like, what the hell? And it was like, that only could have been done from above. What the shit? You know, and it goes back to like Ancient Alien stuff. I used to watch that show.
I take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time,
it makes you think. It really makes you think, because it makes you have to question things from a different perspective.
Aliens explain all of the different gods and religions around the world better than the religious
and
texts.
I'll get to something about that here in a second. But like with that, there was something that they had found in some place, and it was like they talked about it like in one of the, I think it was the first season of Ancient Aliens, how like this one civilization had this crazy, it was I don't even know, it was a carving or something, but basically it was a fucking airplane. To where they had,
it was in Egypt. It's the Saqqara bird.
Yeah,
they thought it was a bird.
Yeah, and they found out
it's a glider.
No, it was like, because
then they built
replicated it.
Yeah, they built it, and it flew.
Flies.
Yeah, it flew, and they were like, the Egyptians had flight.
Yeah,
what the fuck? That's 4000 BC.
And
they had
like,
flight.
You know, you mentioned something. You know, like the aliens explain a lot of shit. Like there was a buddy of mine that I worked with. You know, he ended up trying to get me to reread the Bible, and I told him, I said, I'll do it. I said, but the only stipulation is I get to ask you questions and you have to answer them. This motherfucker tapped out by the time I got to the Tower of Babel. He was just like, nope. He goes, he was like, you're getting way too in depth in this. Well, I started looking at information, like especially in Revelations. It's really bizarre when you start looking at that and you think about it from a different perspective. Dude, they're talking about fucking like UFOs and spaceships.
Yeah.
Like when they mentioned something
They talk about nuclear technology in the book of Revelation.
Well, because whoever it is, I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was supposedly wrote the book of Revelations, when he starts talking about how the angels, like took him onto, like up into heaven, and they were looking, like he was looking through a wind, like, basically explaining the way he described it.
Isn't that Enoch?
No, Enoch is different. Enoch had a whole different scenario. This was somebody different.
Hold on.
But it was similar, and I think it probably was Enoch, but they probably just changed the name because a lot of it is very, it's really.
It wasn't Nebuchadnezzar.
No, but the way he described things, he was talking about like seeing all of these angels sitting around like these boards and like flashing.
But he
jewels.
he got to see the earth though from above.
Yeah, he was looking at the earth from the outside, and they were like sending things down there, doing all this crazy shit. And the way he described like seeing Jesus sitting in the center of this place and talking about people wearing crowns, I'm like, I thought back at Star Trek. I'm like, this motherfucker's on a spaceship. Then they start talking about, when everything happens and he goes down to the earth. It was like after the battle with the beast or whatever. When he starts describing, he's like, and then I see New Jerusalem coming down from the heavens, and he gets teleported over to a mountain and gets to watch this, heaven descend on the earth.
Ezekiel.
Yeah. It's like he gets to see, like New Jerusalem land, and then all of these people start coming out of it. And the way they described it, like the shiny metals and the stones
and the wheel.
Yeah, I was like, this motherfucker is describing a UFO. Period. I'm like, that's that.
Yeah, the wheel in the sky.
Yeah, there's no other way that this can be this. I was like, to me, that is fucking crazy.
Well, and if you look at a lot of old religious paintings,
there's UFOs in the fucking
man.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
And you look, in the Vimanas and stuff, they're talking about all that. Like,
dude, the Vimanas are a whole different
world of
beast. Like, there are people that Glockenspiel or whatever, the Glockenspiel. Yeah, the Nazis created the bell that from the Vimanas from the Hindus and.
Well, but it was a little different. But
that's where the basis of it. But they couldn't figure out though the true technology.
There was also a hidden thing where they, like, I remember reading about this, to where somebody, it was like in the 80s or 90s or something, had happened to see something like falling from the sky and crash landed in Germany or somewhere that was bell shaped. It's like these motherfuckers actually did do the time travel, but fucked it up and crashed. And it's possible. I mean, you look at all the stuff that Hitler did back in the day, like,
yeah, everybody.
He was on a crusade of getting all of these crazy, like, ancient technology things.
Yes,
like that. Was
he went after the Spear of Destiny,
the Ark of the Covenant.
Yep.
And the Ark of the Covenant was, the way they described that stuff. Like, I remember reading something before.
It was basically a mass percussive weapon.
Well, and it was also talking about how, like, wherever, like, supposedly it was, like, hidden in some village somewhere in Africa, like, and that's where he had found it at. But it was
now. Don't people think it's at the bottom of Oak Island?
No,
that's
I did hear that, but he
yeah.
was supposedly taking all of this shit. Like whenever World War II was going off and he was about to get capped, like they were sending all of this shit down to Antarctica in a base they had. That's the thing
Right.
that I had read. But they were saying that in the village that they found it at, like there were people that basically took turns perched up outside of this hut guarding this thing. But it was weird because they kept dying from radiation poisoning.
Yep.
And it was like, that thing is fucking radioactive. That's a goddamn nuke.
Yep.
There's something crazy going on in there. I mean, there's so many little things that
the descriptions of the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible.
Yeah,
the people's skin melted off,
and like they were holding rods with a big box. It's like a giant lead box. They didn't have the shit to contain that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an advanced weapon that was given to a specific people, and apparently the instruction manual got lost through the years. And
They were using sonar technology.
Well,
to
how
knock
about
the fact? Down.
How about the fact that the fucking Persians had electricity? The
Yep.
Baghdad batteries. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Dude, when those were discovered, I was just like, wait a minute.
well, and there was another thing they were talking, and I think Hancock may have talked about this before. It may have been like a theory that he had discussed, where they were saying that since there are like pyramids that show up on all over the world,
It's a power grid.
but it's a power grid,
Well,
but it's
if
also
you-
using it's like Wi-Fi type shit that's going
it-
around.
Yeah, it's a power grid, and also how crazy that the pyramids in Egypt on the Giza Plateau.
Well, at least the Great Pyramid.
Yeah,
itself,
the Great Pyramids. Well, no, but the 3 pyramids right there
line up to like the
line
belt of
up with the
Orion.
one. Line up also perfectly with the pyramids in South America among people who never could have met.
Yep.
They did not have the means of communication. They could not have gone to hang out. And they all line up with Orion's belt.
Like I think it's Teotihuacan. I think it's
Teotihuacan. Yeah.
Butchering that pronunciation, but if you look at that thing from an aerial view, it's a fucking microchip. It looks like a circuit board. Like
Yeah, the whole strip around it and everything, and
Yep.
the way the buildings are aligned off of it. Yeah,
it's just like Rogan said, man. All the smart people fucking died while the dumb outfucked everybody else. And we
it's
lost
idiocracy.
track of everything. Yeah,
it's idiocracy. And then you've got the pyramids that were discovered in China that the Chinese government
What about the ones in Japan that are under the water?
Yeah, there's the underwater in Japan, but then you've got the ones in China that the Chinese government, for whatever reason, will not allow anyone, even their own people, their own paleontologists and stuff that they
To
have.
go and look at it?
Nope.
Really?
Won't let 'em- yep, they are completely blockaded. They will not let people in. Also, the 13 or 14-year-old kid that he theorized that in South America that there were X amount of other pyramids.
Oh yeah, and they found some.
Yeah, and they found them using the LiDAR.
Yeah.
Like this kid said they would be here, here, and here because they aligned with these other, and they found them.
Because they were on ley lines.
Yeah, and they found them. And it was like, dude, a 13, 14-year-old kid figured this out, and here I am. We're talking about it.
No,
but-
you have the definition of woke. Sorry, bitch. That's fucking woke.
Yeah, that kid is more woke
Yeah.
than anybody else. Like,
Yeah, hands down.
except for these kids that are like 9 and 10 getting into experimental and astrophysics and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like the 11-year-old that proposed that when they first ignited the Hadron Collider, when they first turned it on, that it actually destroyed our universe and moved
Dude,
us
I've been saying that for a long time.
into a parallel universe that's almost the same,
But it's different.
but slightly different.
Well, because it also explains the Mandela effect too.
That's
How people started,
and a
they
lot
see
of
things
people,
different.
Like I was having this conversation
Yeah.
with someone, Chris Izzy, who's on the show a lot. He said that the Mandela effect goes back before
Way back.
Well, no, like that people talked about it. And I'm like, I never heard about the Mandela effect until around 2014, 2015.
It was right after the Hadron Collider.
and
did that shit.
2012 is when the Hadron Collider.
Oh, dude, I said that a long time ago. I said that they fucked up and fractured the universe.
Right.
Period. Because
Even if it didn't transport us, it created a temporal rift.
it explains so much, though,
That
too.
it really does.
I mean, and not even just like, ooh, how do you spell Berenstain? No, fuck that. It explains why, and I'm only going to tip my little toe into politics for 1 second to explain some shit. And it's the only way that I can describe it, okay? Like we're going to use this as an example. You have the fucking, the left and the right, the Trump supporters, and then you have everybody that's against him. these two motherfucking groups cannot talk to each other. Because what,
right?
Like,
And
let's say, for instance, you were a Trump supporter and I wasn't. If I tried to explain something to you from my point of view, you wouldn't be able to understand it. You're
Right.
like, no, I see it entirely different. And I'm like, how the fuck can you see that different?
Like, I remember people hated George W. Bush,
Yeah.
but still everyone acknowledged, well, that's our fucking president. You know, like, okay, well, he did all right with this, but why is he doing
to
this?
me, that Hadron
Same thing
Collider
with
thing,
Obama. People hated Obama, but
it's like,
all right.
But to me, it's like it's that fracture that's there. It's like we're operating on the same, basically the same dimension, but there is something just barely askew.
There's a different energy,
and you can't,
and it's
you
fucking
can't,
human
yeah,
beings.
You cannot fucking connect those dots. They don't work anymore. It's like everything's broken. But it's also really strange that in CERN, they can replicate that thing on demand anytime they want. But if they give you like fucking detailed instructions, this is exactly the settings you need to have, and you do it somewhere else, it doesn't work. No other fucking laboratory in the world can replicate that.
Right.
And I think it has to do with the fact it's a location. Wherever the fuck they're at, that frequency is exactly where it is.
It's one of the portals.
Well, it's not even that. It's if you were doing it in another place, you gotta fuck with these settings until you find where that vibration lies.
Yep.
Where you're located.
at. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not gonna work. You know, that's why nobody else can recreate it, but fucking CERN can do it all day long.
That's actually a pretty feasible explanation.
Yeah. Well, because you got to think about it. I mean, the Earth is like has electromagnetism everywhere, and it fucks with things. You know, the closer you are to a ley line, the stronger things are. The further away you are, the less it works. It's like a fucking Wi-Fi signal.
Well, how about we have places on the Earth where
the laws of reality don't work.
Time moves differently.
Yeah.
Clocks, like digital clocks. We're not even talking analog. Clocks no longer, like, you can be at this place for an hour and you come back and you've been gone for 50 minutes, but the clocks around you are still an hour ahead. So does that mean you gained 10 minutes of life over everyone else?
Well,
Because of, like,
it's like the same thing as like they're, you know, like the buildings or whatnot they have where like you could stand on things and you could basically be standing sideways and you don't feel any fucking different. It's like these weird anomalies of things, and it's shit.
Gravitational pull is different around the Earth.
People understand that, but I mean, you think about, you know, when Einstein was theorizing, you know, the concept of like time travel or whatever it was, and he was using wormholes. You know,
Alcubierre, the Mexican physicist, came up with the Alcubierre drive, the hypothetical drive, to where it would bend. It doesn't actually, you're not time traveling, you're bending space and time around the orb, which is what they use in Star Wars Attack of the Clones, which is episode 2, when Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up in his Jedi Starfighter and it's got that ring attached around it, and he detaches to go down to Camino, the water planet with the cloners. That ring is an Alcubierre drive.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, he used that, like Einstein had done, like where he did one of the tests where they, you know, he was trying to prove that the faster you move towards the speed of light, the slower time is. Like, it actually changes. So they put somebody in a car, somebody on a bike, and somebody in a plane, synchronized watches, and sent them out to a specific spot. When they landed, their fucking times did not match up. The person in the plane had the shortest amount of time. It's like time just slowed down for them. You know, and
maybe that's what jet lag is.
Probably, but I mean, it also explains.
Maybe it's a time differential on your body.
You're taking the reality and you're folding it on itself and moving from one point to another. It's like weird shit that our monkey brains can't understand, but it's the laws of the universe. Crazy shit.
I think this is a great jumping off point. We've been going like 2 hours and almost 10 minutes. Yeah,
doesn't feel like it.
I know. That's what I'm saying, man. Especially when conversations like that start happening.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
And it's fun when you can actually have a conversation with somebody that doesn't just automatically shut you down like, you're fucking crazy.
Dude, I'm one of those people that's open. Yeah, you got to be open. So many people talk about having an open mind.
Nope.
And they don't know the first thing about it.
Nope.
Like, look, and having an open mind doesn't, like, that doesn't, to me, it doesn't consist of, well, you should have an open mind, like trans people or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about trans people. If a dude feels like a woman and he wants to be a woman,
let him be a woman.
Okay, it ain't hurting me. It doesn't affect my life at all. I couldn't give a good goddamn. An open mind is being open to possibilities that we may consider impossible right now. just because we don't understand it.
Yeah,
Our monkey brain can't process this, so
And like-
no, that's not real.
Yeah, and I like talking to people that have differing opinions on things, especially if they're able to have a discourse with you. Because the fact is, like, I'm not trying to bash you for your point of view.
Right.
It's like I want to know why you think the way you think, because maybe you got a piece of information that I'm missing.
Exactly.
And if you tell me, it clicks in. Oh, okay, now I understand a little bit.
Okay, I read this the other day. When you speak, you're only saying what you know.
Right.
When you listen, you have the potential to learn.
Oh yeah. Powerful statement right there.
Yeah. Like that's the only time that you can learn is when you are listening, reading, you're absorbing.
Yeah, well, you shut up and learn something.
If you're speaking, you're basically regurgitating things you already know.
Yeah.
But that's why conversations like this are great to have, because we both get to talk, say the things that we know, but then both of us go, oh man, I never really thought about it from that angle. Oh, I missed that angle.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's...
Yeah, because people learn different. I mean...
Yeah.
I dig having conversations with people that have different opinions, because I want to know, why does your brain function like that?
Well, it's like I love to do this little thing that I've been doing this for years now, but I'll take a blank piece of paper and I'll put a dot at the middle of it. And then I will move about, and I'll put the dot right in the middle of the paper. And I put the next dot almost at the edge, like the bottom edge of the paper. And then I'll start to draw a circle off the edges of the paper. And then I'll show them, this is the center of the universe at 13.8 billion years old. And this bottom little dot is us at 4 billion years old. That's our planet.
Yeah.
Our planet is 4 billion years old. And you have to, and then I'll start wiggling the paper around, and I'm like, but all of this encompasses thermodynamic expansion of the universe. So what's in here closer to the center? What could be here that has almost a 10 billion year jump on us?
Yeah.
Imagine if something could come from the center of the universe to come meet us. And human beings, most people that I've talked to, they're like, well, nothing would have the technology. Bitch, they got 10 billion. Human beings have only existed now, we think, for a maximum of 300,000 years. Compared to 10 billion.
Yeah.
I'm giving a 10 billion, well, fuck it, let's say 5 billion. Let's say that there's a species that's 5 billion years old, and we've been here for 300,000 years.
Yeah.
That is not even a full closing blink of an eye.
Well, not even that. The people that have been around for 5 billion years, they come in here, us as a society is going to look like a fucking little dot in a petri dish.
We wouldn't even be insects to these creatures.
No.
It would just
we would be like a microorganism.
Right. It would be like, well, okay.
Wait,
let's
they're
study their...
just now playing with rocket technology? What
Yeah,
the
right.
hell?
They're like, these people, like the majority of these people have never even been off their planet.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, these people are primitive.
Yeah.
These things are primitive. Like, let's study their water and their land. Let's check out their planet, but we don't need to land here.
No.
We're not going to stop.
God, yeah, that's...
Right now, I've told many people this too. Right now, there are huge motherships
chilling outside the planet.
Yeah, outside of our remote viewing area, and they have closed circuit feeds on us, and there are classrooms of children of different species, and there is a teacher telling them, children, this is Earth. We don't stop here. It's kind of like a zoo, but they're not confined. They're just confined to their planet right now.
Because they're too stupid to get off.
Right. And they're trying to make their way, but they're dumb.
Yeah,
they are dumb creatures.
If you
they still kill each other. They fight each other over resources on their planet. And they fight each other over made-up currencies that they use to purchase goods from each other. And these little kids are in these classrooms laughing at us. Children.
Don't stop. You'll hear banjos.
Yeah. Right. We are the Alabama of the universe, and they lock their doors when they fly by.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, God, that's an infection. That's what we would be viewed as. We're like an infection. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if an alien species ever showed up here and saw us, saw the way we treat each other, saw the way we treat our planet, And they were like, we have to save this planet from them. Ugh.
Yeah.
This poor hunk of rock. Like, we can make something so much better here. This could be a great vacation spot.
Could be.
Okay, nuke them. Well, fuck, it ain't even nuke. They probably got some kind of sonic wave shit that just... And now we become part of the landscape.
Yeah, they're gonna hit you with the Heineken virus.
All right. Yeah, I think that's the jumping off point, the Heineken virus. I dig it. Jimmy,
next.
thank you so much for coming in.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
This has been great. This is the Bulldog Unchained podcast. I'm your host, the King of Villains, Bulldog Malenko, along with Jimmy Russelburg.
Adios, Savage Land.
And this has been the one-on-one sessions. Later.